One.
Let's go!
This show fucking stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for it. AJ, you never cease to amaze me with your toxicity, pal.
You got a couple of these?
God damn it! What the fuck are you doing?
Fuck Boston
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to our humble abode, the FanDuel Thunderdome. On this, there's no Thursday Night Football. Thursday, January 5th, 2023. We start now. Football is obviously the topic of conversation every single day. Although the last couple of days, we've been talking about a very serious situation that is taking place on a football field in primetime on Monday. We have breaking news here to lead off the show. And by breaking, I mean it's been broken on the internet for like the last hour or two. Damar Hamlin has opened his eyes in the University of Cincinnati Medical Center ICU. He has gripped the hands of loved ones next to him bedside, and they're saying he is neurologically intact. This seems like great news on all fronts. And they're saying that obviously, let's continue to send our positive vibes, thoughts, and prayers to Damar Hamlin and his family and everybody at that hospital. But hell yeah, fuck yeah, let's go, Damar. Yeah. Pumped up about that. We talked to Jordan Rooney, obviously his marketing agent of Jaster Media's, I believe. Jaster Media, I believe is the name of the company. He's from Pittsburgh. He is friends with Damar, also friends with the family. He has become a pseudo spokesperson for the family through this all. Now, there is obviously going to be eyes all on Jordan Rooney for the next 5 years because of this whole thing. Felt like every time he talked to us or anytime we saw him chat, he did have the best intentions and was just trying to make sure that all of the world we live in right now with the narratives weren't getting out of control too much and hopefully trying to take a little bit of stress off of the family so they don't have to deal with anything. I think that was his angle. We shall see. $11 million, I believe, is what's going to be raised for his GoFundMe for his Making M's charity, I believe, toy drive, which is also going to fund some other stuff that they have going on. So there is a lot happening around Damar Hamlin, and now we're hearing incredible news. Yesterday, the vibes were high out of their camp saying that good things were happening, but nobody was really saying anything of like matter of fact, like this happened, so that gives us positive vibes. It was always like the doctors are telling us he's hanging in there, he's fighting, we know Damar, he's going to battle through this. It was that type of stuff, good vibes. Now we know, eyes open, gripping hands, neurologically intact. That's great news. Ian Rappaport will be joining us in 15 minutes. He'll probably have all the latest updates. Can't wait to chat with him. Today is a massive day for the football world because this is the first Thursday in a long time no football.
Mm-hmm. God damn it.
Yeah.
This is what the future looks like. This is what the next 7 months look like here on Thursdays. Yeah. Yes, this is what it is.
Start the countdown.
We need to understand that. But that means that we're at a point in the season where the football matters the most. We're at a point in the season where every single game, well, that's not true. There's just a couple games.
Not the ones that
just
the Colts
games,
play.
but obviously the Colts are one of those teams that currently are out of it and have nothing to fucking play for this weekend, and that is a shame.
Uncalled
Because they have paid a lot of money to a lot of players, and that should not be the case, but there's a lot of teams that are that way. And then there's other teams that need to win, and they're in. And when they're in, that means they're in the playoff hunt, they're in the tournament, they could go win the Super Bowl. They can get their names etched in history.
That's right.
Woo-hoo. That's where we're at right now. It's going to be a glorious Thursday, isn't it? The Toxic Tables here at Boston Connor, at Ty Schmidt. One half of the Hammer, Dahn. Cowboys telling Diggs this year. Host of the Man to Man podcast, Everything DB, and the NFL Matchup Show on ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Plus. Darius J. Butler is here. You look so cool.
You too, man.
Yeah, these jumpsuits.
Always.
I look the same, literally, as every single day. Cool. But you look, no.
Well, those shoes.
I gotta look white trashy, they say.
Cool.
I don't know.
He's not jocked. But you look super cool, and you're jocked. Very jocked. Joining us now is another man that's jocked. He is a guy who coached in the NFL in college and in the football world for like 4 decades.
Yep. Jeez. Total.
Long time.
I was very lucky to be a player of a team that he was a head coach of, which is the Indianapolis Colts. This man battled leukemia through one of those NFL seasons and founded the Chuck Strong Foundation, which has raised millions and millions of dollars to fund cancer research. Ladies and gentlemen, an absolute legend icon, host of Coach P's Keys, which had a great first season. Chuck Pagano. What's up, man?
How you doing?
So we got a couple things to talk about. That's not an Italian flag on your
Yeah, what
computer.
the hell is that?
That is not an Italian flag on your computer. What's going on? Did you get bamboozled here? Was that what happened right there?
What?
Green, white, and red.
Yeah, but what there's
that thing in the middle.
country in the middle. I didn't know. Is that what happened?
Yeah, you know the red part down there where the boot is? You know what part of the country that is?
Hell yeah, that's
Cologne.
Those are Sicilians.
That's Sicilianos. That's where the Sicilians live.
That's where the organized operations
And I
really
think,
start
yeah,
cooking
and
down there.
the Calabrese are up top.
Oh, light skin, light skin.
Like us.
Yeah,
Who's eating?
absolutely up there at the top.
Hey, at any rate, there's a lot of gabagool over there.
Yeah, there is. And Tone was the one that actually put the flag on the back. And as soon as we saw it, it was like 30 seconds before we went live. I was like, that's not the flag, obviously, because there's a lot of flags in the world.
Oh, yeah. A ton of them.
You know, so you don't always just remember the intricate details of every single flag. Because there are some flags that if they told you to draw, you'd remember and think it's so simple. And then you're like, oh, no, don't you remember? There's a sun up here in the top right corner. It's like, how did the flag design happen? There's some that are just like the most basic and boring. Like, okay, we want no creativity. And then there's others that are like, why is this what we got going on? Nonetheless, knew that wasn't an Italian flag. And then Tone said, we want to showcase the boot, the country as well. Tone, how does it feel to have a fellow paisano within arm's reach for this entire beautiful No Thursday Night Football Thursday, January 5th?
It's unbelievable because I know that the amount of knowledge that I'm going to gain today is immeasurable. Can't be measured. Won't even be tried to be measured because the wealth of knowledge. He's forgot.
That's right, immeasurable.
No, won't even try to.
He's forgot
Let's triple step.
more about football than I've ever fucking known in my entire life. So I can't wait to listen to Coach P today.
All right, let's dive in. Let's start talking about some stuff. You're Sean McDermott. Okay, Coach Pagano, you are Sean McDermott, and that incident happens on a Monday Night Football field that is just routine tackle. Okay, and obviously there's another half of this that we haven't even chatted about, and that's T. Higgins, and I'm sure he is more relieved than everybody about the news that has come out about DeMar opening his eyes and having grip strength capabilities and being neurologically intact, which is the news that has come out this morning from the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. But he's obviously felt. I couldn't even imagine how he.
my God.
But he knows, and everybody's told him, except for probably one or two people, like routine tackle. That happens all the time. Yep. There's no way he could have done anything different. But nonetheless, that all happens there. McDermott immediately has to become a coach that there's no, like, blueprint for. How do you think he handled it, and what do you think his message to the team is going forward? Because this team is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like it's week 18 of the regular season. They still got another month and a half left. That's a long time, hopefully, in their eyes, obviously.
Yeah, great news, obviously, that came out of DeMar's camp. And for the Bills and all of us, matter of fact, we've all been waiting for something, right? We've gotten little glimpses here and there about stuff, but yeah, I thought Sean was unbelievable in that moment. Like you said, there is no playbook for this. When I first got hired at the Colts, I was looking for the head coaching manual. There's not one. You know, Jim Caldwell didn't leave that behind. Yeah. But there's no playbook for something like this because we all know injuries are going to happen. You know, we've seen knees, we've seen ankles, low leg, concussions, things like that. But this is, use a word that's getting thrown around a lot, unprecedented, right?
Yeah.
This situation. But listening to Zach Taylor talk to the media yesterday and come out and kind of explain when he walked across the field and when he first talked to, Coach McDermott, and the first things out of his mouth was, hey, I need to be at the hospital with DeMar, with his family, and I don't need to be here coaching this game. And so I think that speaks volumes. I think we already knew what type of man Sean was, what type of leader Sean was, but until you're thrust into these situations like that, circumstances don't make you, they reveal you.
Oh.
So I think what was revealed about this football team, about the Bengals, and we already probably knew a lot about it, but it revealed that these are two classy organizations. The head coaches are great leaders. There's great players and great leaders on these two teams, and I thought Sean was amazing, and I think they're going to practice today, I heard. I had a walkthrough yesterday, but getting this news, I think his father came out and did a Zoom call with the team, which probably
Mario
helped.
Hamlin, I believe.
Yeah, tried to help that team move forward, those coaches move forward, and then the news today, they can kind of say, okay, our brother, our teammate is going to be okay.
Yeah.
and then we can move forward, and we have to move forward. And I think Sean would say, hey, look, what would DeMar in this situation? What would he want us to do?
Yeah.
And what would that family want us to do? And you got to keep moving forward.
And I think that's probably a part of what Mario said to the team.
Yeah.
DeMar's father, Mario, spoke to the team in the Zoom. And then a couple of the Bills players, not a couple of the Bills players, but they said the team needed it. Obviously, yes, that is an incredible message to hear. The world, I think, was excited to hear this. And I don't want to say needed because we didn't as much as the Buffalo Bills or as much as his family. But, man, this is great news coming out for everybody to think about. Yeah. Me, Darius, and AJ were talking about this yesterday. Sean McDermott, great coach, and he just talked about how adversity doesn't
make you, it reveals you.
Boom.
Hell yeah.
What a line.
Yeah.
That's a bar right there from old Coach Pagano. There are some coaches around the NFL that would not have been able to handle that situation as well as Sean McDermott did. So I do believe the praise that has continued to be heaped on him, especially if we have a former head coach in the building talking on a microphone, is a good thing. What they got going on there in those programs is fucking good, strong, and that's what culture I think everybody talks about.
Yeah,
too.
and then tough times like this, obviously you need, team and family, and his family is going to need that as well because I would assume, it's a long road ahead, to recovery and him getting back to us. And so we're all on pins and needles. Obviously, his family is as well. So great news coming out from his pops.
Yeah, so our big question for Ian Rappaport now is, what is expectation here?
Yeah, going forward.
Because we didn't know what good news was a couple of days ago. We didn't know, what's good news? Alive, right?
Yeah.
Is good
Survive,
news.
sure. Right.
That's where we all were thinking. Neurologically intact, that makes it sound like
That's good news.
hand
That strength.
Yep.
grabbing, right? So we're starting to piece some things together now on what maybe if DeMar, and I don't even want to say it because it seems so absurd, especially coming from the moment that it happened to everything we've just experienced. Is he playing football again?
Yeah, based on what, talking to Jordan and, the feelings about DeMar that they have, unless he himself decides, I don't want to ever, have to be put in that
This would be a question we'll ask
again.
Rappaport because I don't even, it's obviously not even.
Yeah, it's probably so
That is
far
not
away.
even in anybody's thought, but Pronger, the NHL,
Yep.
he got hit puck, chest, commotio cordis. He came back, played 10 years afterwards or something like that.
Yeah, he went on to have a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, and he didn't play that long after it happened, right, Nick? I think it was weeks.
Next week, I think.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, after it happened.
Yes.
It's insane where modern technology is at. We watched, the whole world watched, and just from my lack of knowledge in that world about how long a body in CPR and everything can happen, my natural instinct watching how long it was, I was like,
Yeah, man.
That's too long.
Yeah, once again, hats off to obviously the coaches and players, and they did an incredible job. But those responders, those first
Bills.
responders, getting the medical personnel getting on the field, actually going because all the doctors that's coming out, if it is commotio
cordis,
if it is something, that's something that most of these guys only read about in textbooks. So
probably haven't experienced.
Yeah, so haven't really going through those protocols and actually put some of that shit in place. So for them to come out and do that and give DeMar a chance, because a lot of places that happens, a lot of people don't even have a chance to make it. So hats off to them.
Shout out to
Denny Kellington. They said was the Bills guy who basically acted immediately. Yeah, there he is.
Assistant athletic trainer.
Right, acted immediately and started administering CPR. And they said he's in this situation one of the real heroes because it was same deal. I mean something like that happens, and I mean obviously these guys are trained to do that kind of stuff, but it's hey, gotta have your fucking A game when something like this happens.
Yeah, when pressure arrives,
right?
Can you perform?
Exactly.
There's some refs we've seen
that
in the big moment, obviously not ready for it because everybody talks about players and rarely are coaches talked about too. There's some coaches that in the big moment you can't do it, let alone equipment managers whenever something pops off. Like in football, there's obviously helmet malfunction, cleat, face mask, literally anything. You got a good equipment manager who can flip things quick. It doesn't get thought about until it pops up. And if you don't have a guy or a girl, it's you're trying to find in the thing. So old buddy, I assume that this has been the plan. He's the one who took he was probably the one that was part of the practice and part of the whole thing. But who knows?
Yeah.
In the moment, are you going to be able to execute it perfectly? And these trainers, everybody talks about, and they're the meme water boys. People are water boys make six figures in the NFL or $80,000 in the NFL. I'd love to do that. That fucker has slept 14 hours a week for the last 24 weeks probably,
Yeah.
if I had to guess. The trainers, their lives, they're in the building as early as the earliest person that's in the building.
Yep.
And then normally in the building, I don't know, the coaches end up sleeping there and doing that type of stuff, so you can't talk about that. But whoever the last player basically out of there is there, their days are 18 hours long, very regularly. And then obviously they have a deep passion for the team and for the players. And then for this to happen, it's like, hey, shout out Denny. Great fucking work, Denny.
And you know their phones are blowing up 24/7. So when they do leave, these things are still blowing up. And players are saying, hey, I need some Normatec, I need this, I need that. And those guys are on call. So they don't sleep. They can't turn their phone off. You can't silence your phone if you're in that role. And so again, adversity doesn't, make you, it reveals you. What was revealed about this dude?
Yeah, Denny's a legend out
Dog.
there.
Yeah.
D-But also have no sleep, make everybody feel better, always be on call, and better have a good attitude. We don't need you bringing us down.
Yeah, because,
Legit,
yeah.
like their vibe
Yeah.
keeps people going through the entire season. I couldn't even imagine a training room that has a bad vibe. Colts one, we had
You were always in there.
fucking people. Like the trainers, physical therapists in there, everybody in that room. Pretty great hang.
And then you're dealing with a lot of individuals that are, it's obviously a high pressure job. You can be in there one day, you can be gone the next, you can be fighting for your job, and now, damn, I got a knee, and I'm out 3-4 weeks potentially, and I'm trying to, fight for my professional life here. So now, like you said, you show up at treatment at 6 o'clock. Those are the first faces you see. Those are the people who kind of push you. All right, let's get 3 more reps. Let's get 4 more reps. So with these, sometimes you get an injury, they may say, hey, this may be it. This may be it for you. You may never come back. So
they have to deliver terrible news.
Yeah.
Very painful.
Tough job.
Rehab is very, very tough. They're raking a metal stick
Yeah.
on your scar tissue, so it'll break it up, so it doesn't happen. Excruciatingly painful. It absolute a metal thing just getting jammed and rubbed basically up and down bone and scar tissue. No fun. No fun at all. Necessity. It is a necessity. No fun. They have to do that, and then they have to read the human. They have to read me. How bad does this hurt? Okay, let's take a break. Motivational speech. Got to do it. Let's get back in here. It's just not an easy job at all. I'm happy old buddy's getting.
Just think about it. Then they have to deal with the coaches.
Oh, my back.
Hey, what the fuck is going on with Pat, man? Is he gonna practice?
Yeah.
Is he gonna practice this week or what?
Yeah, it's real.
Coach, we're working on it. So shout out to those.
And they have to
guys.
treat everybody on the team.
Exactly. Yeah. All 90 guys that come in immediately,
yeah.
right? You got to treat them all like they're Peyton Manning.
Exactly. Yeah.
Squad, everybody.
Aaron Burrill is the head physical therapist for the Indianapolis Colts. Been around a long time. West Virginia grad. Okay. From Morgantown, West Virginia.
Weapon
of a human. Knew of me whenever I got there. Obviously, he and I and Kyle and Wallow was in there for a long time, and Hambone, and that whole group is awesome. But me and EB, he got me back. Him and Kyle got me back from fucking 3 surgeries, 4 years, just like that. I'm very thankful that Denny's getting his flowers.
Absolutely.
It's not a bad time to give flowers to everybody else around the NFL doing that job as well, because obviously they did not save somebody's life right on a field in front of everybody. Denny deserves to get shouted out, and I think he would think this as well. Those trainers are fucking awesome people around the NFL, and they're a necessity. We got Ian Rappaport joining us right now. We will love to hear what Ian's hearing, because it feels as if this morning a lot of news has been released out of the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. Ladies and gentlemen, the senior NFL insider for the league, the network, and its website, host of the podcast, The Insiders, which can be found on Fast Networks. Also the host of the weekly wrap-up with Rap Sheet and Friends, us being the friends, he being Rap Sheet. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Rappaport. Ian, before we dive into anything, phenomenal job on the Food Network last night. Tailgate Takedown.
Thank you.
You were the star of the program, Ian. You did amazing.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate your tweets. The thing about it exploding in my mouth.
Hey.
I just hope the internet forgets, which I
it up.
assume it will. I would tell you this: the only thing I really cared about, well, one, my hair looked great. 2 was, did they show how fun it was? Because it legitimately was fun. So I'm glad they showed that, and thank you for your tweets.
Yeah, I think it was a good. I think it was.
Okay, that now that
Yikes.
Well,
What's going on, bub?
Tim Kirch and Frank Thomas.
I see what happened first here. Yeah, this is a Siciliana thing, it appears. But they have you dead in the middle. So it's not even we could say like they put you far side or there's anything else like that. It is perfect perspective there in perfect ratio. But that was whenever you were showcasing urgency. You were the one that pointed out that there was a fire. Fire! Star. I mean, Ian was the star of the show last night.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if everybody got to see it. So the one about the mouth exploding, let's turn that volume up because it is a little low because I'm recording it from my bed at my house. This is Ian.
too much, but okay.
This is Ian explaining, a meatball, I believe, right? From the New York Giants team?
Yep, meatball.
This is a meatball that was cooked, obviously, to perfection.
Oh, yeah.
And here's a description of the texture of said meatball by food judge and critic Ian Rappaport on Tailgate Takedown.
You could feel it like in your mouth, which I like.
So that was great work. The way they edited that whole thing. And then there was another moment that you got in there. They were really cutting these quick. Like that was me just showcasing his entire take. That was not out of context at all. That was what they decided to put in there. And then this is shortly after there where he wanted to go ahead and just get all the flavor off the fingers. Because if you do recall, it was a long day on the set. He was looking forward to this food, not just to judge it, but to also digest and enjoy it. Here's Ian Rappaport wrapping up his thoughts on the meatballs.
Don't mind me, guys. I'll be a second.
Okay. Thank you, Ian Rappaport, for the electricity last night. You did great on that, honestly. You fucking were great on that show last night, Ian. You need to know that.
Well, thank you. There were several moments where I was supposed to be doing something and I was just eating. And they had to be like, can we take the food? And I'm like, can I just have like a little? Because I was there all day. It was the best food we had. And all I really wanted to do was just eat all that stuff.
Food Network.
Yeah. I mean, and they promised me I would get to eat, like for real eat. So it all worked out very well.
I'm happy that was a part of the negotiation. I'm going to Food Network to be a food judge. Can I eat?
Please?
What is this guy's deal?
Come on, Rap.
Ian, what is
Still kept taking it away.
Do it.
They kept taking it away, and I was like, let me just like.
All right.
There was one point when like they put it down, and they were like, all right, just leave it here. And then I took some, and they kind of were like, don't take any.
Okay. All right, because they got to get their shots and everything like that. That is a massive moment in your life. I'm happy I got to watch it live, and I'm happy and hopeful that you'll get more of those opportunities. Congrats.
Go, Rap Sheet.
All right, let's dive into your actual bread and butter, which is being the senior NFL insider for not only the network, the league, the website, and NFL Plus.
Hell yeah.
Damar Hamlin news seemingly really, really good. Eyes open. You reported gripping hands of close ones. Neurologically intact, they're saying. When did all of this happen? When did all this take place? And are we expecting more great information coming out of University of Cincinnati Medical Center today, Mr. Rappaport?
Okay, so first of all, this is all amazing.
Yes.
And, I think you could probably tell yesterday when we spoke, things were going in the right direction, right? Like there was some optimism, there was some positivity. Even if people close weren't saying like, this is specifically happening, that's specifically happening, you could tell by the way that they were reacting, things were going to be okay, and at least he was going to make it. That's what it seemed like yesterday. At least he was going to make it. And then last night, he opened his eyes. And that is also amazing. And just imagine the family members who have been there, 72 hours, not knowing if he's going to live or die, watching him get resuscitated on the field, some of the most dramatic and immediate medical attention we've seen in a public setting.
Ever.
I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I was thinking about it. I forget about football. I can't remember ever seeing anyone else fighting for his life in front of us, and we're all watching.
And I think Joe Buck, but for the last 9 minutes they've been doing. It's like it was, and the whole world's watching prime time.
Well, that
all
was
eyes on.
Right.
Yeah.
I think for all of us, hearing Joe Buck say 9.5 minutes, it was when, at least for me, I was like,
that's a long time.
Oh, like, okay, this has just changed. This is now not about football. This is very real, and I don't know what's happening. And then he opens his eyes last night. He is responsive. he's not talking yet because he has a tube in his mouth still, but gripping the hands of loved ones, knowing that they are there for him, is all like really incredible.
Okay, so let's dive into a little bit more there. Was anybody with him when he opened his eyes? How did they find out? I assume that it was his family bedside the entire time. And when that happens, everybody gets real pumped, right? I mean, that is, what time do we know when that happened in the evening?
It was late. It was late. So I think it was, somewhere after 8 o'clock, because, it started like, when I do these things, you check in for news and you check in on humans, and then you do a little bit of in between. And this is one of those things that you're not really going to do anything until it becomes an official statement. But you started to get word last night, like, we're going to have something tomorrow that's going to be good. So around like 8 or 9 p.m., something was happening, which turned out to be opening his eyes. I don't know specifically who was in the room, but I know that the reaction from those close to him who have all, because like the family members are sort of in and out, so I don't know who specifically was there, but I know the reaction was like described to me as extremely heartwarming.
I would assume, yeah. I mean, geez, what a moment there for DeMar as well. Coach Pagano has a question for you, Ian Rappaport.
Hey, obviously that's great news. Good to see you, Ian. Glad you enjoyed those meatballs. Did they tell you what was in those meatballs, how they were made?
Yeah, it was, regular meat, some jalapenos diced up, and then some ricotta and mozzarella in the middle of it. So it was real, like, crispy on the outside and soft on the inside.
Do you make your own?
Really good.
Do you make your own meatballs?
No, his wife.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything.
My wife does, in fact, make meatballs. A lot of the other stuff I make, I got a new pizza oven. I am the one putting it into the oven, taking it out. She does some other stuff. But
all right, Chuck, we can't. This guy's just lying all over everything.
Yeah,
we can't
right.
do that.
No,
okay. What are the next steps, though?
A lot of that was true.
Go ahead.
No, yeah. So whenever we talk about, and your meatballs are fantastic, you don't make them, though. So, like, we're not going to let you just lie on the program. But I think we do have to get back to, he doesn't. He doesn't do anything, Chuck.
No,
he does not.
This guy does not. He actually documents him not doing anything and puts out to the public, like, hey.
My
wife's awesome.
My wife is awesome.
Thank you for
he's a good
massaging my
guy.
feet.
Well, we don't know if that has happened, but certainly some
It's happened.
snow.
My
shovel.
feet hurt so much. I was just on the Food Network. Can I have a massage?
All right, let's get back to what you actually do, though. Let's get back into this.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead, Chuck. Yes.
what are the next steps? What are the next steps here for the DeMar Hamlin family, for the team, for the Bills, and what are expectations? Do we know what expectations are at this point?
You're talking about for him specifically?
Yeah, like neurologically intact is
Well,
great news. Like, that's incredible news, right?
Yeah.
And then gripping the hands, that's great news for extremities, you would assume, right? Like, that would mean good news. I don't know how much more you know than us, but like, what do you think what are expectations, timeline going forward for him?
So, obviously the focus has been on, like, how is he and is he going to make it? Once it was clear that he's going to make it and he's neurologically intact, then you could sort of start being like, is he going to have an okay life? Is he going to be okay? And then could he ever play again? And I don't know the answer of would he want to play again, right? I do not know that answer because I would imagine, considering what happened to him, he could play or not, and I would understand both ways. Honestly, I would totally understand if he never wanted to play again. But no one has said to me, this is the guy who will never play again. Like, I don't know if you can compare difficult, tragic situations, and I don't think this is saying anything wrong, but this made me think of Ryan Shazier. And, tracking that situation a couple years ago, I remember speaking to someone close to him, and I asked about football, and the response was, don't ask about football. I understand. This hasn't quite been like that. No one has said to me he's never going to play football again.
Got it. Crazy that you are asking about football in this situation, but that is your job, I guess.
Well, for the Ryan Shazier thing, I didn't understand.
Oh, got you.
I didn't know what it was, and I didn't understand. So he says, let's not talk about football, and I was like,
I got you.
okay.
I understand. And that's a great by the way, thank you for bringing that example because you're showcasing that it has happened in the past and it has had a different reaction. So that's great news for DeMar, I believe. Chris Pronger of the NHL. What year was that? He got hit with a puck. Do we know what year it was?
That was 99.
98.
99, yeah.
Yeah, he gets commotio cord, which comes from hockey, ball sport normally, or object sport, hitting at like the exact wrong time of the heartbeat and at the exact, they're talking like millimeter of where it's supposed to be and everything like that. He came back and played, so it's fascinating what the human body can do. I think that's what I'm learning most through this whole 9 minutes, this guy completely out on primetime TV. Now they're saying he's 72 hours later, he could move and he's alive again. Like, think about him opening his eyes.
Yeah.
There's just so much that is really mind-blowing here, and it's all certainly good news. We can't wait to follow your Twitter account, hopefully for more news. Do you think more is going to come out today, or do you think that was this morning was the good news they're referring to?
No, I think that was the good news they're referring to. At some point, maybe today, Sean McDermott will speak, and I don't know if there's going to be a doctor with him or not. Sometimes they do that. Would make some sense to sort of explain, like, here's what happened. And the family has been very protective of making sure that there's no specific medical updates. I think mainly because everybody screws it up, and they wanted, if there's going to be an update, for it to be like real and here's actually what happened. So we may see some sort of medical update also, and then it's like the football part of it, which is what are you going to do about the game? Is it going to be replayed, which my guess would be probably not, but we'll see. And then how do you actually play a game this Sunday?
Got it. And they're going to try their best. They said they're doing a walkthrough or whatever, and obviously teams are
practice today, I think.
Yeah, teams are offering up mental health, however, and whatever, basically to try to get through it. Other teams are feeling the rippling effects of this as well, just like all ex-players are. And whenever you talk about a doctor being there, I remember when Chuck got diagnosed with leukemia, Jim spoke, doctor spoke immediately afterwards to kind of break it down a little bit. And I thought the doctor...
To the team or to reporters?
Both.
Yeah.
I think both.
Oh.
I think, definitely to us first, though.
Yeah.
Team, we came back in and we knew something was up because we hadn't been told. It was fresh off a bye week, right? I think we were coming off a bye week. Everybody in the building's in the team meeting room, like everybody. Meeting's supposed to start at, let's say, 9 or something. Did not start at 9, so I was like, okay, so Mr. Ursay is part of this. That's the only person that would be able to just not show up, like with the whole building here. He comes in, and then doctor comes in, and there's a lot of us that are like,
Yeah, that's not good.
what the hell's going on? And then we kind of got it laid out to us, and there's questions, like Reggie, who has had obviously great history with Chuck. He's known Chuck since he's 18 years old, whenever he's getting recruited down to the Miami and whatever like that. Like Reggie asked to follow up, and the doctor had the answer. It wasn't like Jim or anybody else had the answer. So, and I think in the media it was the same way. Do you remember it the same way? I don't remember.
I don't remember the media, but I definitely remember the doctor coming in and breaking it down to it. That does lead me to a question. Have they formally come out and said it is commotio cordis or whatever it is? Because I know a lot of people have been speculating that, us included, because that's, I guess, what it looks like. But have the doctors actually said that?
Right. So Dr. Alan Sills, the NFL's chief medical officer, said last night, that it is a possibility, which is the most specific medical information we've gotten. That leads me to believe, if Dr. Alan Sills says it's a possibility, it probably means it's very, very much a possibility. That may not be all that was going on. This seemed like incredibly serious, and I know there was a clearing of his lungs, which was also essential.
Yeah.
I don't know enough to know what that means as far as a condition, but that sounds like a little more than maybe what Chris Pronger had and some of the other athletes who've had commotio cordis.
Gotcha.
So I guess it's happened 4 different times. Pronger's the only one that came back and played. The other 3 did not, and that's because they had
prior.
Didn't there was a soccer player who played.
Christian Eriksen.
Yeah,
that was
Eriksen
different.
did.
I don't think that was commotio cordis, though.
Was
I think
that
that was just
different?
cardiac, or I think he just had a
Yeah.
heart
Yeah.
attack.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The commotio cordis, I think there's
okay.
been 4. Pronger's the only one that came back and played. He had a full career afterwards. The other 3 had what's it called?
I don't know the specifics, but I just know they had irregular heartbeats that were
undiagnosed
conditions that they found out after the fact.
Yeah, in the heart. And we heard from somebody who played football for a long time the other day. They texted us, and they were like, or they called and told me, like, when I retired, I was having some, like, pain in my heart, and I had to go get tested, and then they had to put dye in my blood, and they had to do all this stuff to find this out. Turns out it was something, he had like
Carditis?
No, it wasn't. It was something. I forget what it was. It was
Myopathy?
Yeah, myopathy, I think it was.
Cardiomyopathy.
Yeah, cardiomyopathy. And sorry, there's a lot of heart terms being said these days. And we should all learn more, by the way, because the heart is the leading cause, I think, of people passing away or whatever. But whenever that person said that, the doctor told them, like, hey, you were rolling the dice playing football for as long as you were playing. This is an undiagnosed condition that, like, I think if he would have been told this when he was in college, he would not have gone on to play football after that. Like, he had been living with something that, like, made his rate or percentage of something like commotio cordis happening much, much higher than everybody else, but it was undiagnosed because a regular physical wouldn't be able to pick it up. And he told me, don't be, like, there's a chance that when a doctor comes out and speaks, there'll be something that'll be alongside of it that'll make him was at a higher rate for this to happen than maybe somebody else. And I think that's what a lot of players are going to be wanting to hear. Like, if that's just possible, you know, like if that's just possible to happen to anybody, he's in great shape. He's 24 years old. Routine hit. That was just a standard hit. Yeah. I think there's potential.
Right, we've seen it 200 times.
So I think, like, that conversation is one that should happen. I think it should be explained, too, because that's going to put a lot of people at ease. Or it's going to put everybody at, like, okay, so this is something that somehow has not happened as much as it should happen. Obviously, for DeMar, we hope that's not the case. Happy he's back. But I will be excited to hear the full explanation of what's going on. Will we ever? We will hear that, right? We will?
I hope so. And I think I feel like as a society, we're way more transparent than we've ever been, right? Like, we tend to have national conversations, for lack of a better way of saying it, over these things. And, you know, we did it for COVID, for better or worse, for 2 years.
Well,
it happened. I know it happens for illnesses all the time. And I think what sometimes happens is, in the end, people go, okay, well, I'll get checked out, and, like, that's great. If that's what comes of this, more awareness, more people knowing, like, hey, I'm going to go get my heart checked out, or if you're a player, say, I'm going to get a certain type of physical that will, like happens at the combine, where you check your heart out, like, that's good. More information is better. More awareness is better. I hope that comes with all of this.
Okay, me too. And I think Connor has a question about something that is not DeMar Hamlin related. So I think this is the perfect time to say, obviously, all our thoughts, prayers, and vibes are still going to University of Cincinnati for DeMar Hamlin. I feel like the whole world still feels that way. But it's great to have some good news coming out of there. Way to kick some ass over there, DeMar, and everybody that helped. Connor, your question for Ian Rapport.
Yeah, obviously all the football questions are secondary, but Rap Sheet, a lot of stuff has been coming out, especially in the coaching world right now, and the Saints have officially said, like, hey, this is going to take a first-round pick if you want to trade for Sean Payton this offseason. Is it basically known around, you know, the league that Sean Payton will be a head coach in the NFL somewhere next year, or is this just kind of them letting people know that if there's even a thought for some teams that you're going to have to, you know, give up a first-round pick to get?
Yeah. I think it's more like, now, I cannot definitively say Sean Payton will be a coach next year. There might not be a lot of openings. We might have, you know, probably somewhere between 4 and 6 is, you know, usually it's between 6 and 8. I think 4 and 6 this year. There's some possibilities that I think are not yet decided or not yet public. But, you know, Sean Payton is going to be choosy. He's going to want a strong ownership with a good functional organization. Either a good quarterback or a quarterback that he can make good, like some sort of rookie.
He wants a young quarterback, you think? Young quarterback?
I mean, I think that would be his. I don't think it's a deal breaker. I think mostly he'd want a good quarterback.
Okay, so he's going to Miami with Tom Brady like they were supposed to do before the whole thing happened?
Warm weather, he said he needed as well.
Because somebody's reporting now out of Dolphins, and it might have been a blog, might have been a report. We saw the headline. We should have looked into it more. Might have been fake. Dolphins lose, end up 8-9 after going 8-3. Everybody's job's at risk down there for Stephen Ross. Is he doing that to move some pieces out of the way so that he can move Sean Payton and Tom Brady back in like they were supposed to do? And when they were going to meet on that yacht, and B-Flow said, I ain't coming? Is that what's going down right now?
I have not corroborated that. That would be a little surprising. Now, we do see that from time to time where things are surprising, and this is that time of year. You Now, the other thing is, there was a whole tampering thing from the league where they all got busted.
Yeah, Steven had to watch a game from his yacht. Wasn't allowed to go to the stadium. I remember that half a year, right?
Right. Which
Oh, that's
sounds very
devastating.
different.
That is. That's
Yeah,
tough,
fair
especially
enough.
with how good the team was this year. He didn't get to see Tyreek score like 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
Golly, he wouldn't do that again.
Been worth shit since he got back.
Well, but then it's like, will the league let that, if that's going to happen?
He has only seen them
You know,
lose.
Yeah.
like, would the
No wonder why I went to fire him.
That's why.
Yeah.
I was.
Wait, is
I
that
was
true?
I was in my yacht watching these games.
Yeah.
You guys were killing it. Daddy comes home. You guys can't win a game.
You suck.
You
know
don't
what?
win with
You know
me in the
what?
building. You're all fired. How about it?
for the betterment of the team this week, head to the yacht.
True.
Well, I heard Snyder's doing that, right?
Yeah.
Isn't Snyder doing that this weekend?
Yep.
I mean, he spent some considerable time on that yacht, I would imagine.
Yeah.
There was a whole website,
Fans
a whole
tape.
Twitter account who only
Can't have that.
purpose was to let us know where is Dan Snyder's yacht, which as a public service, I appreciate it.
Well, I think Elon wanted to ban that particular thing from the Twitter because of how potentially dangerous it is. But at the time, we were following right along. I mean, he was in Napoleon's
I
home
mean,
island
Yep.
there for a while.
You can take the thing off. You can make it so no one can track it. I don't know if Elon knows this, but you can like just click a button and it says can't track it.
Can't track what?
Yeah, he's telling them.
The where your plane is.
Yeah, that's not real.
It's real.
That's not real. What you just said. These
It
fuckers
is
have
real.
technology to track everything about. These autograph hounds, I don't know what you have access to.
Yeah.
I know what they have
I don't
access
get a
to.
lot of autograph hounds if we're being completely honest.
I don't know if they're just like shooting, like, are they holding hangers up in the sky and like through the entire flight? Like, yep,
sweet.
he's over
Got him.
Illinois right now. And it's not just me, it's they know where everybody is. They know where everybody. So you could turn it off, like you just said, but you have to check in every airspace that you go to. So all you need is literally one person at any of those places talking about it. I mean, it's
Yeah, that's true.
it's a whole thing. Yeah, I've experienced it a little bit.
Wow.
So thanks, Ian, for telling Elon what to do.
Yeah. Good at all.
Yeah, Elon.
Offer a suggestion.
Yeah. Oh no, you didn't say that. It wasn't a suggestion. It was a matter of fact.
it was.
Is what you.
He went back and forth with you too, like.
Yeah. Like no. I know. Yeah, just turn it off. I couldn't find where fucking Sean Payton was flying to. I thought. Oh. So there's no. You think? So let's wrap that one up here before we move on to the next one.
Okay.
Sean
Yeah.
Payton not necessarily coming back. Wanted to go to the Chargers. Chargers might not be available, so now it might set it back a year where he evaluates another team. Denver Broncos, Indianapolis Colts, Carolina Panthers. Are those the three big ones? You add the Miami Dolphins in. Does that immediately become the number one job? Why wouldn't Sean Payton do that?
I don't know that it's gonna come open. First of all, I think that job would if it came open, would probably make sense.
1 year.
Denver, I think, is a possibility. They're going to swing big. So Harbaugh and Peyton, along with Dan Quinn, will probably be the three targets there, I would say. So that would be sort of what you would consider. But I think he likes TV. I think he'd like to stay near LA somewhere. So I don't think he's going to jump for just anything. He's also rich anyway, so it's not like he needs the money. But I think he's going to be very choosy.
I can't wait to see what happens. Tom Brady's a whole nother story. We'll dive into that another day. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Rap Sheet, in terms of injury reports for Week 18, a couple guys for the Packers last week, Keyshawn Nixon, they didn't know if he was going to go. He obviously runs a kickback, scores a touchdown. Christian Watson was banged up. Bakhtiari played. Are all of those guys, I mean, are the Packers kind of all systems go this weekend? And on the flip side, is anyone hurt for the Lions potentially in that game?
I think what you're going to probably see around the league is for the teams that have stuff to play for, it's going to be almost all systems go. Like, it's like in the playoffs, everyone always plays. I think that's what it's going to be like this week. And now, on the other side, for the teams that don't have a lot to play for, like, even if you're just playing for seeding, I don't think teams will put guys out there at risk.
Giants?
Like
Eagles?
See, when Dayball, I think we talked about this a little bit. When Dayball was in Buffalo, they rested guys. So we may see the Giants not play everyone.
The line suggests.
Dayball was
the line's 13 or 14, so it's.
They're saying they're not playing.
I would think so.
God, how do you feel about that?
Dable wasn't the head coach.
How do you
in
feel
Buffalo.
about? How do you feel about that, John?
That was
I don't like
that was
resting.
Sean's. Momentum's huge.
Huge.
I'm a big believer in momentum.
But if you lose a guy, you're the fucking dumbest coach of all time.
But you can lose a guy at practice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Moment.
You can lose
will
a
your
guy
fans
preseason.
and will your fans
When
and
you play him
owners
in
think about that though?
Those guys want to play. You heard what Tom said. He don't want to sit out this week. They want to play. They want to keep their chemistry. They want to keep the momentum going, especially if they're doing this.
Incentives.
Keep working.
Yeah.
And yet you talk about guys got contract and guy needs one more sack to hit an escalator, couple more catches.
Well, that's the
couple
other
more
thing that
yards.
happens this week.
91 yards, Christian Kirk.
Yeah, 500.
Now you're going to sit me down so I can't,
Kenny Galladay.
GM gets in the guy's ear and says, hey, we should rest this guy. Why that guy? Well,
That's a tough position for you.
Oh.
That's a tough position for you. It's bullshit
You know
that
what-
it even happens because there's a $110 billion media
no,
rights deal.
they deserve everything. I mean,
Yeah,
that's why we did it.
That was a big part of Chuck's. That was a big part of Chuck's speeches. Go get your money now.
Yep.
Okay, actually,
That's cool.
I don't know how proud you are of this moment, but it's real. We're talking about drawing up a play for Reggie to get a fucking. You know what I mean?
Damn right.
Like, hey, Chuck was a big believer in like, hey, things matter. Especially escalators and consecutive streaks and everything like that.
yeah.
Just because we're fucking around doesn't mean that this has to be fucked up. So that is something that I think you live.
You remember what happened
Not
in that,
everybody
right?
lives by that though. Yeah, we lost 8 or 10 or something like that.
No, that end of that game, and he's got that streak going where he's got 3 catches in 100 games in a row. And like we're at the end of the Jacksonville game, Gus Bradley's the head coach. And so we throw Reggie back in there. He needs 3 catches. We throw him 2 bubbles. He gets cut in half.
Sawed.
Almost
We're
sawed
talking
in half.
sawed in half.
No, and
Damn.
then he's looking at me trotting off. And then Gus, when I go to shake his hand after the game, hey, good game. And hey, I'm sorry for it, and tried to explain to him the circumstances why we're throwing to Reggie late in that game when we're up, whatever we're up, and the game's over.
Gus was not
And he
happy.
goes, he kind of just looked at me crossways, like, yeah, I was wondering what the hell you were doing.
Yeah, I could imagine. I think it was a good thing, but that type of stuff matters, though. I think, like going like, I think Reggie wasn't necessarily as pumped about it either because he didn't feel. But that's like a coach looking out for a person, and the whole business thing. So you're thinking the Giants aren't playing? Eagles are playing then?
God.
Sounds like Eagles are definitely playing.
All right,
I mean, we'll see if at some point Jalen Hurts will be a full participant. If he's a full participant today, that means he's going. But health-wise, Hurts is definitely in a good position.
Ton Diggs, your question for Ian Rappaport.
Hey, what's going on with Lamar?
Dude, this is getting ugly.
Not ugly. Not ugly.
Yeah,
What happened?
Well,
it is.
Come on.
We'll bring it up after Ian does his little bullshit.
Yeah.
here is where it stands. He's probably not going to play this week because he hasn't practiced yesterday. It'll be 5 weeks for an injury that I think most people thought would take 3. PCLs take a little bit longer, and they're not going to risk it. So I was told that they are confident in his return for the playoffs. If he's not out there for the playoffs, then it would be, okay, he had a setback. I don't think it's contract related, and I don't think it's effort related. I'm sure it sucks for everyone, though. And I know he wants to be out there, and they want to be out there, but he is just not ready.
So I said your little bullshit thing because I thought you were going to talk about the Lamar contract situation, which I think is what Tone Diggs was alluding to. But you went it with the playing thing, so we appreciate that information. I apologize for assuming you were just going to lie. I do apologize for that because you have sources and everything like that. We're just judging from outside looking in. This quote that made it into the Baltimore Sun Sentinel and then onto Reddit from Mueller and Sando. Harbaugh clearly thinks Lamar should be back. He's trying to stay out of it and take the high road. Sando going to say, Mike Preston of the Baltimore Sun wrote in a mailbag column that it's no secret between the coaches and top members of the front office that Jackson is a slacker. Source, the Athletic Football Show, the football GM with Randy Mueller and Mike Sando. This slacker won the MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This slacker won a playoff game. This slacker's absence has been wildly visible over the last month or so. Why is this happening, Rap? Why are your people talking shit on their guy? Why is this happening?
I've talked to my people, and nobody has said that he's a slacker.
Okay.
They say it just takes time. And I think I get particularly, not that my opinion matters, who cares, but I get particularly annoyed at the frustration when a player is not back from an injury because rehab is hard. All injuries are different, and we don't know.
Yep.
So, it's like when people were frustrated with Bakhtiari not being back out there last year, and then he turns out he needed a whole other surgery. and he's having to come back and play like normal, even though his knee doesn't feel normal, which is what happens after surgery. This is all hard, and people like me, who never had a real injury like that, fans always get frustrated, but I don't know that that's fair to him. It sounds like to me he's doing what he needs to do. He is just not ready.
Okay, we appreciate that. I assume that take was on like the contract situation as opposed to his recovery, but nonetheless, thank you for clarifying that all. Last question here for you, Ian, from Boston Kana.
Yeah, Rabshi, kind of a two-parter here. One, is it safe to assume that either Jimmy G or Tom Brady will be the quarterback for the Raiders? And then also, is there a front runner for Derek Carr right now, and why is it the Colts?
First, the Colts thing. I would be, at this point, a little surprised if the Colts went the veteran route. Not saying anything about Derek Carr. I'm sure he would do a very good job. He has had really good moments in the NFL.
That's great to hear.
But after this most recent not great situation with Matt Ryan, I would imagine they try to draft one.
Yeah, there we go.
They'll be in position to draft one.
That's a good way to know.
I mean,
a guy's going to be a guy.
They will
draft.
I mean, a lot of teams go to the draft and get guys like that.
Pat, we gotta do something.
Top 5, I mean.
Yeah.
We saw CJ.
We can't get number one pick either. I just fucking read.
You saw Stroud.
Yeah, but you could get the next Justin Herbert.
We could grab that pick, though, put it alongside something else that has value currently, but might not a year from now.
Like a lineman.
And get
No,
Zach.
no, not necessarily
get
that,
Zach
but
Wilson.
anything that we have. And just put that together to go to number one to get Stroud. That is something we could do.
Couple players you could trade on that team.
I think there's a couple roster or salaries that I think if you're going to rebuild this thing, which it sounds like they're going to potentially think about doing, there's some salaries on there that you would maybe want to be like, okay, we appreciate your service, but for whatever reason it didn't work. You remember? We gave up the largest comeback in the history of the NFL. That was just 1 week after we gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter to nothing against the Dallas Cowboys. And then you guys get fucking smacked in the mouth by the New York Giants, which good football team, obviously, but still, we were supposed to be one of those too. And then, I think that'll be. So we both need a fresh start.
Yeah.
So, boom. I think that's potentially going to happen. So maybe we go up to one to get Stroud. Who knows? We appreciate you, Ian, joining us. We know you got a busy day. Thank you for the news on DeMar. We will continue to follow for updates as you go, pal.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me, and I'm very glad that I have to say some actual real good news today.
Yeah, me too. I'm happy we all got to experience that, especially coming from you. No, not that was a shot, but it didn't mean you crushed it on Tailgate Takedown. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Rappaport. That was great news.
Yeah, huge.
That was incredible news. We're not going to get Derek Carr. You know, that conversation was just littered with good news through there. The DeMar Hamlin stuff is awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
That is a big deal. Because as you start thinking about what they're actually saying, it's like, all right, so hands are moving. Gripping means control and power, right? That would have to mean some sort of power, which you would think you could lose. I think that could be something. Eyes open, that means he's awake, right? Seeing.
Yeah. The neurologically intact.
That's the big one. Because I think just at least for me personally, when you hear a guy that they need to do CPR for 9.5 minutes, because you can have your vitals back and all that kind of stuff, and if you don't have oxygen to your brain for almost 10 minutes, everything could look good, but then you could be brain dead, and it seems like that's not the case.
All right, let's get to a break. It's a great first hour with some great news. AJ Hawk will join us on the other side. Hey, Paisano, you want to do a...
here we go.
You want to do a little bit of a giveaway?
Come on, Chuck.
Absolutely.
Come on, Chuck.
Let's go.
Come on, Chuck.
Now, those that don't know, now you will know. Chuck Pagano was a DB coach for a long time.
Okay.
So if you know anything about DB coaches, a lot of the drills that DBs are a part of has to be some sort of ball in the sky.
Sure.
Chuck Pagano used to spin those pigs,
yeah.
in those drills. Hey, 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 hey.
Ball.
Oh, yeah.
Dropped a bunch of them.
No, he did not. Very catchable ball. That's why every time he grabs one of these things and aims for that basketball hoop, we assume 10 people are going to win $500 who retweet this video. Say something nice to somebody, maybe even to DeMar.
Yeah, love that.
And put your cash tag in there so we can pay you efficiently from Cash App. Coach, go ahead and drain one here, pal, with that beautiful arm.
Oh.
Bingo. Oh. It was a little bit of a duck. I think you got a different bounce. That's not normal for you. He'll bounce back. Ball's good.
Oh,
Last ball for the first hour here. Chuck Pagano. The warm-up round. The warm-up round. Got 2 more hours. Got 2 more hours. Stay in it. All right, we'll be back in 5 with AJ Hawk and hopefully some more good news. Stephen A. Smith will join us in 33 minutes. He was saying some stuff about Aaron this morning.
He was.
Good stuff?
He was doing it on purpose.
No, not good stuff.
Kinda. He was setting it up. He knows.
For this convo?
He knew he was going to come on. He was like, I'm going to do this in the morning. Boom.
He
Talk
said,
about it later.
we're watching Aaron this year, and he ain't been bad man that he used to be. And now we're winning. We're going in and we got a must-win game. And he's talking about if he's going to play. And he's not going to play. He's not going to play. Shut up, Aaron.
Sick and damn tired of it.
That's what he said.
But he has been one of the most staunch Rodgers defenders.
Yes.
So.
Very vocal.
Yes, I give him a pass. We'll see what he says.
Yeah, I can't wait to chat with him in 33 minutes. Can't wait to chat with AJ Hawk. Damar Hamlin, sounds like all news is good news right now. Let's hope that continues. We'll be back in 5. Take 5!
What an honor. What a dream. Being a part of game day was a joke. Being on the field for this is a joke. We continue to live the dumbest life of all time.
What a time to be alive. Let's enjoy the hell out of this weekend in 2023 as well.
We are live from an empty Mercedes-Benz Stadium. All the off-season workouts, all the sickness, all the puking, all the commitment, all the dedication. We got 4 teams left, Coach. What's the vibe of that locker room getting ready for this game?
We're going to swing as hard as we can in this game, and CJ's our leader, and he's going to lead the way.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we're going to try to make the most dumb television on earth this evening live from this field right here in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Darius Butler, 9-year NFL vet, played at UConn. That team stinks, but they're coming back. Okay, Stanford Steve here. And this man right here wearing a Wolf t-shirt underneath his sport coat. He works for me full-time. But what are you excited about this evening, Connor?
I mean, Pat, like you said, I have the IQ of a goldfish, so I'm not really taking all of this in strictly because there's so much. The moment is huge.
You know where you make your money, and this college level is the red area. Georgia #1, 120 is where Ohio State is ranked, which is nuts.
Max Duggan is a dog.
Let Duggan cook.
Connor, good job there. How are you boys? Kirk, we say dumb stuff on the internet every day.
You guys be out there, Coach.
See if they can cover him. What? In the boots.
Clear on your guys.
Connor, you're on ESPN. How about it?
Didn't say fuck, didn't say shit. I was close, but I didn't do it.
That's a win. That's a win. That's electric. Look at this, man. Look at this.
Hey, Coach, I don't know if you headbutted one of your guys or not, but
Cut yourself shit.
you are awesome.
I got a 6-year-old son, man. I mean, it's
They're going to have to rely upon those dogs. Cade Stover, the tight end for Ohio State.
Yeah, number 8.
He's like 4th generation farmer. Sponsored by John Deere.
Yeah.
Okay, and they don't just put that deer on anybody.
Hey.
Yes. There's going to be billionaires barking. Okay, there's going to be billionaires barking. Grown folks in khakis barking in unison.
Wow. So much that's got to become a thing next year. No, there is this close to go. Can't do that.
Yeah, that was great.
You all right? You all right? You all right? Help him up.
Spill anything?
Nope. Spilled your phone.
Could have been worse. Could have been much worse.
The college football playoffs are about to kick off in Phoenix, Arizona. My name is Peyton Manning. That's an Ohio fucking wet dream, not just a dream, dude. AJ Hawk. Did you see A.Q. Shipley stacked on top of Q, on top of Cole?
I feel a shot coming. Sound like Taylor. Oh, I told you. I gotta go. To the bathroom?
Let's go, baby. Wait a minute. Congratulations. And the encore this evening is the reigning defender. Undisputed national champions in a home bout against the Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm joined by Darius J. Butler. Then voice of Ohio State, AJ Hawk, Boston Connor, Ty Schmidt, and AJ drove down here in a Sprinter van. His son puked twice on the way down here, broke an iPad, had the windows bashed in this morning. Just on the streets of Atlanta here. If Ohio State loses, would you jot this down as the worst trip of all time for you and your
we
family?
love adversity, Pat. We love adversity in Ohio.
In
the end zone, Marvin!
Oh, Marvin!
It is so loud. You can't hear a thing.
Marvin Harrison Jr. ran how many routes, Connor?
I think he had a post, then he had a corner, then he had another post in the end zone.
Tough to guard.
Running.
Nice to know everything.
This guy is all about ball. He is all business.
All ball, all the time.
Tunnel screen.
Looks like he's about 7'9", 550. He looks 2 feet bigger than everyone else out there.
D-Butt, look at his dome. Look at his dome.
Look at him.
Look at him.
Fade.
One-on-one over there. Oh!
Grab that thing.
We touch the
Get
ball,
that
touch the ball, touch the ball, touch the ball.
We'll throw back the ref. Get that.
Throw that thing, sling that thing. Hey, good by his ball.
Actually, let me.
Punch it.
What a run. Uh-oh. Again. There go that man again. Back to tight end. Deep shot.
He's got him.
Are we live right now? And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Fours up. Put your fours up.
That's coming right to me.
That's short. Any thought of like a fake punt direct snap here, Pat?
That would be awesome. There it is. There it is. Time.
Let's go. They call timeout. What happened?
The timeout on the fake punt in the fourth quarter is being described by a lot of people as maybe the greatest timeout in the history of college football.
You know, we've had 2 punts faked on us this year. We are very aware and know that people are going to try to steal possessions.
Connor, what quarter is it?
I believe, Pat, if I check my left hand, it is the fourth quarter.
Snap down, hold good. Kick is.
Looks good. Get it, catch it. Yeah.
What a kick to put the Buckeyes up 6.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge your great catch under the goalpost. I want you to know when I saw you make that, I thought for a second, is he going to return it? I had visions of kick 6 when you caught that ball, so don't do that to us anymore. But
Jackson takes a shot to the corner. Touchdown! Georgia! Georgia bananas. And if you didn't know who we were before our show, yes, every day it is somehow this day. Wow, that's stupid. What a game. Let's put on a great performance. It was a good time, man. From all of us to all of you, Happy New Year. Enjoy the hell out of your evening. Hey.
What?
Let's go. This show fucking stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. AJ, you never cease to amaze me with your toxicity, pal.
You got a couple of these?
God damn it! What the fuck are you doing?
Fuck Boston
Shut the fuck up!
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our humble abode, the FanDuel Thunderdome. On this January 5th, 2023, Hour 2 starts right now. Football has some great news coming out of its world right now. This morning, Damar Hamlin is officially neurologically intact is what is being reported. Okay, so we just got to go by what's being reported. Has his eyes open and has the capability of squeezing family members' hands that are at bedside. Cannot talk because they have a tube down his throat still breathing for him. I think there's still work that has to be done on his lungs, which either had blood in it or something else that took place. Still in the ICU, but all signs are pointing in a great direction for Damar Hamlin, which is fantastic. In hour 2 here, we'll be chatting about what happens with the Bills-Bengals football game because we believe there's some decisions coming. The people that will be chatting about it, at Boston Connor, at Ty Schmidt of the Toxic Table, one half of the Hammer, Dahn. Cowboys Tone Diggs is here, and host of the Man to Man podcast.
What?
NFL Matchup Show.
What?
Everything DB.
What?
And maybe the owner of the coolest closet in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, Darius Butler. Joining us now live from an attic in Ohio is a college football national champion, Super Bowl champion, Ryder Cup champion, a man who's a video game shit stirrer, NBA pundit, COVID survivor, father of 10, AJ Hawk. How are you doing, pal?
Oh, doing great. Coach P looks great up there on stage.
He does, doesn't he? He looks fantastic. We didn't expect the Italian flag to also have the country of Italy in the middle of it, a little bit of a remix version. But this paisano looks fucking incredible, AJ. You're 100% right. We're lucky he's here.
Yeah, he does. Is my video choppy?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Very choppy.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Let's redo it.
All right.
This is terrible.
From the top, or is
I don't know if we're going all the way from the top because the only person I hadn't introduced was I was going to introduce to AJ, saying, "Hey, how lucky are we that on this stage is a man who's been coaching football for 15 decades. He was obviously the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts whenever I was punting there. Now he's the host of Coach P's Keys, ladies and gentlemen. Chuck McGowan. Chuck, we've been talking a lot about the Damar Hamlin situation, everything like that. I think the next step is what happens with the games, what happens with the teams, what happens with their schedules. It is a lot to be sorted, and I think the proper amount of time has been took by the NFL to let the grieving process take place and for good news to come from the Damar Hamlin camp out of the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. Pro Football Talk is tweeting now that there is some ideas on the table for how this will be treated in a way of fairness, I believe, for all teams, especially with the playoff picture and the playoff berth literally a week away at this stage. Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio is reporting the current information we have. Bills-Bengals won't happen. The NFL is currently figuring out how to configure the AFC playoffs without that game. Could an 8-team be added to eliminate the bye week for the number 1 seed? We do not know if that last sentence there is just punditry from Mike Florio and his thoughts of what could be, or if that's from the information that he's getting from the inside source that he definitely has. He has been one of the authorities on football information for like 2 decades at this point. For me, this is a fascinating answer. This is the NFL saying the conversation about the number 1 seed and what's good is obviously you get home field advantage and everything, but that bye week is something that everybody wants. So if the bye week is what everybody is holding in the highest regards, we can eliminate that, then everybody loses something that could have potentially been on the table for them. We add another team, 8 teams to this whole thing. Everybody just plays the AFC side a little bit different than the NFC side, and we move forward as is. That's a fascinating angle to go about fixing the current issue.
Yeah.
I do love, Darius, and we talked about this during the break, that the NFL said, okay, we can get more football out of this.
Here we go.
And it's fair for literally everybody. I wonder how long it took to get to this potential offer, or if this is just Florio kicking this around right now.
Yeah, that last, it kind of looks like it's him kicking it around, but it would be interesting.
It would be fair. I think that would be
as fair as it can get, I guess, and it would be more football for fans, which would be obviously a good thing coming from a very, very bad thing. But I don't know. It'd be very, very interesting.
It is very interesting. This is, once again, no blueprint, unprecedented. The NFL obviously had to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge through the COVID era in making up and figuring out what the best answer is. How do we reschedule games? How do we keep everybody safe? We'll play on Wednesday. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll move games to a different place. It's like they've had to do this in the most recent history. So this isn't completely out of the ordinary of the modern world that we've been living in for the past 3 years or whatever. But this would be something.
Yeah.
8 teams in the AFC make the playoffs. That changes the playoff picture for a lot of people all of a sudden going into Week 18. More specifically, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And also the New England Patriots, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how much Tony wants to be in the playoffs. I know I definitely don't want to be in the playoffs as a fan of the team and what we've seen, but they also already have a spot open, too.
Getting to dance.
Yeah, for sure. We're getting ready
Anything
to
can
dance.
happen. You can dance.
Yeah, anything can happen. Actually, we found out what can happen last
the whole
year
fucking thing.
when the Bills had a perfect game against the Patriots. And then we can also think about, they can get in the dance, and for 4 or 5 days, we get to say, nice, you're in the dance. And then that entire next week, you guys just got fucking boat raced.
Oh, you're talking about what we would have to do? 'Cause
Exactly.
Colts aren't in anymore, so the critiques of the Colts are now, we know we suck.
Bingo.
What's the future look like? The future's bright, though. Look at
Yeah.
the pick we got.
Yeah.
You make it to the playoffs, especially in an eight-team playoff for the AFC side.
Yeah.
And you just get boat race at the beginning. Everybody's like, it didn't matter. Like,
there's
exactly
not-
who we thought was going to. You guys are so bad. We made the play. You guys are
Who
so
cares?
That's a whole conversation.
The playoff check,
But you just, playoff checks are good for the coaches. Great for the coaches.
Yeah, need that.
Great for everybody in the building. But this is a fascinating theory that we did not come up with whenever we were brainstorming on the thought. Joining us now is a man who is a college football national champion, Super Bowl champion,
Wide.
and an internet expert,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
influencer, AJ Hawk.
Yeah, AJ! This has got to be Florio, just throwing it out there, right? You think that's true?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's interesting proposal. I never thought of adding an 8th team, but I feel like that's a lot.
Yeah, we never thought of that. I think that's why I was most surprised whenever Connor read it on his phone during a commercial break, read it aloud, and I was like, oh, we hadn't even thought of that or whatever. And then once I saw the way it was tweeted, first thought is that Florio, or is that his inside source saying, here's some ideas that are being pitched and maybe float it, let's see the reaction there. I think coming from your perspective, I think it is a fair thing. I think would be a fair option. How do you feel about it, AJ, actually?
Well, I instantly think of logistics. So we have an extra game, right? And it's going to be played at wherever the 1 seed is. That's where we played, which is probably Kansas City.
Yeah, they have time slate open.
Bills would have been, though.
Man.
Bills would have been 1 seed. They win.
So do you add one to the NFC too to make it fair? Add an 8th team there so there's no buys anywhere?
So here's another update from Pro Football Talks Mike Florio, Paisano Florio. Here's a look at where things currently stand as the scheduling. 1, no Bills-Bengals game. 2, NFL figuring out what to do with AFC seeding. Okay. 3, neutral site for AFC championship is possible.
That would
I
take
think
one field out.
I think it would be fair because the Bills beat the Chiefs earlier in the season. So, the Bills not getting the 1 seed.
The Bills having to go back to
having
Kansas
home.
City.
Right.
We talked about that yesterday. We said, could you imagine if the Bills end up having to go to Kansas City, obviously for the championship?
Yeah. After beating them there already earlier this year.
Yeah, and they have
And last year's.
there will be, even though the DeMar Hamlin, that was the scariest thing of all time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Scariest thing of all. So the NFL has to figure this out on the fly, and they will be judged, and people will forget how serious the world was just a couple days ago. People will, as soon as this good news comes out, there will be people, and I'm not saying you should be one of these people. There will be people 2 weeks from now, whenever something happens, that'll be like, "Why? Remember they added an 8th team, and remember they chose it." Like that whole. There will be people that will judge the NFL very harshly for everything that happens here. It sounds like they are trying their best to make it a fair operation,
Absolutely,
while also not forfeiting any football, which is obviously going to be. I think that's the fairest way, right? You play your way in. That's probably how they're selling this whole thing. And then the last one, expansion of playoff fields to 8 teams in AFC and NFC is possible. So it would be both sides, 18. That changes week 18 all of a sudden out of nowhere as well.
Yeah,
For
neutral
sure.
site
Then
gets
you
rid of
think
that
they're-
conversation,
Spawn
too,
some
of
teams back in.
if the Bills lose to the Chiefs at Kansas City in the AFC Championship, well, it should have been in Buffalo, but if they do it at a neutral site, that kind of X's that out.
Where are they going to go? They're going to take that game to, Detroit's going to be playing.
Indy's about halfway through there, and you don't have to, they put those 2 offense. You don't have to worry about the snow in KC or Buffalo.
Bring the Luke soil.
Host stadium.
That'd
And
be
you
sweet.
gotta.
Do we get a suite
Yeah.
for that?
I think so.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I think it's a good idea, Florio. Don't you, Darius? All of a sudden, I think this neutral.
The more I'm reading it, I guess I'm gonna think about it the last 2 minutes. I don't like it.
How come?
It's just kind of Mickey Mouse.
It is kind
And now you know.
If they do go to 8, they'll never go back.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Oh,
too.
bummer.
They
More football.
They go.
We're talking about
you don't have that bye
yeah.
week though. For that's something you work obviously all season for. Get that bye
See,
week.
the NFL though can grandstand so hard. Making grandstands so hard because this is more football, more games being played for the players. But isn't this the games you want? This is what you guys have been working for all years. This is this extra game. Like that is literally it is an easily fan. You win the you win the mob, you win Rome or something like that.
Right.
Yes,
The NFL could very easily,
And they get passed right now because this is unprecedented right now. So whatever they do this would be a great way for them to kind of get it in there. And it's like, all right, this is what it is. You know what? It was great last year. Let's just stick with it. But I think obviously we had the tragic situation on the field. But at this point, you forfeit the game, you flip a coin, you do whatever it is, you keep the 7 teams, and you just go from there. I think all the players, all the coaches will just understand it, fans as well, and then you move on as is. But adding an extra game, taking away home field event, like a neutral site for the AFC Championship.
That'd be crazy. It'd be too corporate. It would be like a corporate Super Bowl, corporate AFC Championship almost. You know what I mean?
To your point too, in terms of money, like if they're adding, they're adding 2 games on Wild Card Weekend, like that's just they're opening that up to the highest bidder of any of the networks, like
Amazon.
All right, yeah, who wants the game? Amazon, you want it? NBC, you guys want it? Like whoever offers us the most money is going to get this fucking extra game that we didn't think we were going to have.
There's been a lot of things we've chatted about on this show where I've been like in my head, I'm like, players are going to hate this. Players are going to hate this. And I'm not saying the players are going to hate this necessarily. Playoff checks are good. There's a whole nother team getting playoff checks another week. I mean, there's
2 potentially.
There's so many good
teams.
Yeah, for NFC too. Yeah, you're right.
And you don't get one. You don't get paid for the bye either if you get that.
Yeah, if you're the 1 seed, which is wild.
That's weird.
That is.
Oh, you did great. Thanks. So good. We don't gotta fucking pay you. But you didn't work. Did you do anything? Did we sell any tickets? Didn't think so.
Make it to the Super Bowl.
Did any eyes watch you guys? Did any eyes watch you guys? Did we make any money from any revenue stream? No. That's what we thought. Congrats, 1 seed. You make no money.
Yep.
We'll see you next week, though. Money goes up next week, though. More eyes, more money. It does get higher. But the teams that are not seeded number 1 don't get that check. That was a wild development whenever I was there.
Yeah, that's absurd.
So everybody else gets a check.
What do you mean? why we go 14?
Are we in the building? What do we?
What the fuck?
This is work. We're still work. We're not work. What is?
I go
we
home?
did better than everybody else. They make more money. We don't. Well, yeah, of course.
Oh,
that sounds fair.
Didn't you guys think, based on listening to like Harbaugh talk about the circumstances, that everybody'd be okay with, this is a no contest.
Moving on.
Oh yeah.
We're going to move forward. Like you said, it's unprecedented. Everybody's going to be cool with you throw something like this in there, and if you're down here, if you're in that 8 spot or whatever, you're going to be cheering. Hey, we're in the playoffs. But if you're up here and you've worked your ass off to get the number 1 seed and have home field advantage,
imagine you lose.
Yeah, that's the.
And then they pick
That
a
won't
warm
happen
weather venue like
in the
Kansas
AFC.
City or Buffalo. And then they pick a dome, which is probably what would happen.
Right here in Indiana.
But I think
They pick a dome,
Chiefs and Bills
and
will
then you
find out.
lose that advantage
Offense.
in late January for an AFC championship game and a home field deal.
Yeah, that's why the 1 seed thing, like you could see him being pissed, but you can also see how Kansas City could also think like, hey, we don't really deserve the 1 seed just because of the fact that.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah, because the Bills could have went on to lose that
Yeah.
game, but if they were to have won it in Kansas City, still, that's the thing. It's all like questions, but there might not be that much of a corporate event because of how well the Bills and the Chiefs travel.
Yeah, it might be 50.
That'd be more like the college
legitimately.
football playoff that you were just at.
Yeah,
Ohio
bingo.
State, Georgia.
Which was bananas. I don't know if Lucas Oil Stadium's built the same way as Mercedes-Benz Stadium is for sand.
It's a little sleepy in there.
It is a little comfortable in the Lucas Oil Stadium.
Uh-huh.
It always wins that, like,
Man, that thing did get when Peyton came back here.
Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
Fuck, it was loud.
was
Patriots last year too. It was impressively loud.
So maybe it's not the building then. Maybe it's just the.
Maybe it's the Marks watching.
Maybe
I think so.
maybe two they're rooting for.
Yeah, true.
That's potentially. That'll get fixed. That'll get fixed.
Next 10 years or so.
What do you think, AJ? We've heard the thoughts of this stage. What are your thoughts on it?
I think what Chuck's saying, like, no contest, we move on. What do they do? Like winning percentage for seeding somehow? I assume that is like the most likely option to have.
Just as a person that is strictly a fan at this stage, and players, I feel like I champion players more than anybody else. Okay, I could see how some people feel as if, well, what the fuck are we working for? We're working to get up in the 5 seed, 6 seed. Coaches are saying we literally have not seen our families in 3 weeks because we've been trying to sneak into this fucking 6 seed. Now you just open it up to an 8, and it's like, well, situations happen. We got to adjust, and then everybody with a brain goes, like to Darius's point, we do this one time, this is going to become the new standard, whatever. And then what, 9, then 10?
Yeah.
Then what does the playoffs even matter? Then all of a sudden a team that's good gets into the playoffs and they get knocked out by a very average team just because something happens earlier in that game or a penalty's called. And then are we going to still maintain the integrity of the playoffs with the good teams making it if we're getting some shit ones in there? Does the season still matter as much if you start adding games and everything like that? This is the same conversation that's happening with college football playoff as well. For me, this sounds like an answer that is rather fair for the current predicament that we are in, where we cannot play this Bills-Bengals game because of how far we are into the season, how close we are to the playoffs, because of how serious it was. It had to be postponed. It just so happened to happen at a point of the season where there's really no other answers. If they pick this, I would not be upset about it.
Nope.
I don't know if they will pick this. This sounds like this is just like
conjecture.
Who knows? Like maybe a thought. Maybe they're floating it out there to see how people react to it. But if they were to do this, I would be like, all right, I think they did okay in this situation, personally. But I do hear how people could be pissed off that this becomes a new norm. Then what does that mean? Then
how many teams with losing records do you want getting into the playoffs every year?
That's already a thing, yeah.
Great point, because there was a tweet last night from Siciliano, a person who's been talked about on this show a little bit. There's a chance that we have 3 teams with losing records. Jaguars, Titans, and Buccaneers making the playoffs. Only 3 losing teams in NFL history have made the playoffs in a non-strike season. D-Butt, you almost puked in the mic. What's that mean? Shit ball?
Growing up, obviously, the NFL playoffs has always been the best to me because it was the NBA, like half the league gets into the playoffs, and it's like, the first round. Like NFL playoffs, that's why we say, all right, if you get into it, you get in the dance, anything can happen because you have to play well at some point. Sometimes you may start off shitty and you get hot late in the season, you start playing well. Like, I would just hate to see the NFL playoffs continue to be watered down. More football, yeah, but it's a reason why you're playing through the shit you play through to get to that point. So I just would want to
keep it up on a pedestal.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it going to 7, honestly. Going to 7 teams, I liked it, but it is what it is. Obviously, money talks, and that's really the bottom line.
Do you think that, AJ? Do you think it gets kind of knocked down a couple ledges if we end up doing that? Does it dilute? Not this year. They're going to do what they got to do.
Yeah.
But if it goes on to be the thing going, I think you agree with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This year they got to do what they got to do. But if this just becomes the new norm, does it dilute it? And is the reason why people think it's diluted? It's just like they start here. Where will it continue to go? Is that what you think everybody's thinking?
Yeah, obviously, like you said, this year is different completely. Whatever they do this year, but yeah, moving forward, I don't think. As of right now, I don't like diluting the playoffs like that because I think there's such a big deal. It's such a big thing. Like D-Butt said, I feel like half the NBA or more than half the NBA is in the playoffs. Like, it needs to. We need to keep it special somehow.
Well, that's like the Pro Bowl. You start thinking about it. Mm-hmm. There's like 17, 18 quarterbacks at the Pro Bowl. It's like, all right, is this the?
And if you got 7 and 10 teams getting into the playoffs, like that just looks weird. I think.
I don't think it's good for their. No. I understand why you guys feel that way. Once again, as a fan, though.
More football.
More football.
I agree.
Go ahead, Tone. More
Jags
playoff checks as well,
agreed.
which we will wrap.
But if the Jags and Bucks win this weekend, there's 0 teams with losing records that are getting into the playoffs this year. So it's kind of like.
And the Jags have to win to get in.
Or if Jags, the Steelers, Dolphins, and Patriots all lose, they get in.
And they lose.
Well, and if it moves to 8. Then there's a lot. Chuck, your thoughts. I'm excited to hear your thoughts as a man who has obviously been in the NFL in so many different facets, both as coordinator, assistant, head coach, worked with the league for a while, so you've seen it all from all angles. They make it 8, to Darius's point. They're going to keep it 8 forever. We all know that. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, we know what the almighty dollar, what drives the whole thing.
Could you imagine, next week they go, hey, who wants to bid for this 2 extra playoff games that we have on super wild card weekend? It's like Amazon. Bezos would throw $1 billion from his yacht. Do I get this every single year? Yeah, we'll kick it off with you guys every single year.
Sounds good.
All right. There you go, right into the bank accounts of the NFL. Boom, boom, boom.
Extra
and then there's
billion.
another game. There's still another game that's happening on Sunday. Like, it is crazy.
Two owners getting extra games too.
You two guys, AJ knows how hard and difficult it is to win a game, let alone enough games to be a number 1 seed, to win a division, get in the tournament, and now we're just going to start handing out, participation trophies. I mean, and we're going to reward mediocrity.
No, what is everybody getting a ring for making the playoffs too?
Nobody's going to, because of the circumstances.
This year,
because of that, nobody's going to argue anything that happens. They're going to say, okay, whatever you guys decide to do, and everybody can put out their stuff and plant seeds and Roger's head, Troy Vincent's head, and they're going through all they're smart until something comes out of 345 Park Avenue, and we got a memo from Roger Goodell. That's when we'll actually know exactly what's
Oh, you're
what's
saying
going
there's
down.
a lot of times where there's speculation and the NFL doesn't do what anybody.
I mean, that's what everybody loves to do, right?
Yeah.
But personally, I don't think that you can sit there and start rewarding, teams that didn't earn the right over a 17-game season to make the playoffs.
Yeah, because what does the regular season become? Just like you have to kind of get through it. Then you see a lot more rest in the players.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys said if
Load
they
management
do it,
comes in there.
Yeah, load management comes in. You're right. That is what the fear is.
Yeah.
No,
if it did go to 8, though, you go back to 1 and 2 seeds both getting a bye. So there's an extra benefit to being the 1 and 2 seed.
Yeah, but
instead of
that's
just
less
the 1 seed
football,
now.
right? It'd be the same football as now.
Less games to broadcast.
Yeah.
but then they'll find
Which
a
is
way.
what we're all assuming
Yeah.
is the driver
Right.
behind this. whole
5 or 6 would be weird too, just the look of it, because 4 would play 7 and 3 would play.
We'd all
8.
get used to it, just like a 33-yard extra point. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody gets used to everything, but we do have to be in the position of projecting what we think could be the downfall of this.
Sure.
And I think diluting something is not always a great thing.
How do you think they come to this final say so? Is this like a competition committee thing? Like coaches get on a conference call? Like how to just Rod, just Troy? Like how
There's
does
a ton of smart, big brain dudes at 345 Park, and they'll sit down and they'll go through all the scenarios, figure out what.
Are they in like a conference room? Like a desk, you think? Glass windows?
Succession.
Can you set the scene for us?
They've got plenty of space.
You think Roger Goodell
to
loose
meet.
tie?
Yep.
You think jacket over there? We're not leaving until we figure this out.
M&Ms.
Is that what's happening? You think?
I
Like
don't know exactly which room
Jerry
it'll
Jones?
be. They got a few floors over there in that building that they work out of. Yeah, they're going to get together. A lot of smart people, like I said. They're going to make a decision.
I wonder how many
on what's
ideas they
best.
floated. I wonder if any ideas that got like, I don't want to say any ideas we came up with, but I wonder if like everybody in the room's job is like, hey, come with ideas, and then we're going to figure out what the best one is.
Yep.
And then some people are probably pitching ideas that they would like to see.
Like a writer's room. Like a writer's room for a
Exactly.
show or something. Don't you think
Beanbag
that's how it should
chairs.
be?
And they're probably saying like, this has already been floated by Florio. Here's the reaction to this from our fans. Like,
Yeah, that's a good
you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of that. Yeah, like
That's the room.
Is that going Dahn right there? You
That's
think, Chuck?
at the NFL headquarters.
Bunch of people bouncing
not very
tennis
intimate.
balls.
It's not very
I
intimate.
don't know. I wasn't in that room ever.
What if they were just? I was not in that room ever.
So
All
that's
right,
that's
let's
the
take a-
seat at that
executive
table.
level room.
We will all look on what happens and who makes the decision, how they make them. We got to take a break because on the other side of this break, we have Stephen A. Smith joining us.
Hell yeah.
You know that, AJ?
Yes, it's awesome.
It is awesome. We're going to ask him about the eight teams from the AFC and 8 teams from the NFC maybe making the playoffs. He has a book coming out. Why did he tell Aaron to shut up this morning?
Yeah, Steve.
So many other things. Be a friend, tell a friend. Stephen A. is on the other side. Should be a good convo, we assume. Take about 3. How come you slip through the draft, go undrafted, then you survive on the practice squad, then you show up and it's like, how has this guy not been on a team for so long? How many different moments were you like, I think I can make it in this league, I should make it in this league, and why is nobody plucking me off of this practice squad and signing me for 4 games anywhere? What was it about, you think?
I always told my buddies, my guy Stanley Morgan was on the practice squad the first year with me, and he's been a special teams guy for us, doing great things. But we always, getting out the mud type of thing, just waiting for opportunities. We've both been here for, this is year 4 for both of us there, so we always talk about getting out the mud. We always talk about on practice squad, our game day was Thursday because that was third down day, and we got an opportunity to go against the number 1 D and try to show something, try to catch someone's eye there. So it's just a matter of staying patient and just waiting for opportunities.
Whenever you became like a focal point for the offense, were you prepared? Were you ready for it? Mindset day to day going into the building different, or are you still that practice squad guy and will be forever?
I think I'm still that practice squad guy, just grimy. I just got to be grimy day in and day out, and you can't get complacent. You can't let success stop your work ethic there. So I'm just trying to have some fun with it, make some plays whenever they come to me, and I don't know when it's going to come, but like in that play right there, we got a double-double, and I'm going to be single if they're doubling 2 people. So, there's a lot of weapons on this offense, but I'm going to win my one-on-one when I get my opportunities.
Hell yeah, grimy Stanford guy. That sounds like a superpower. Dable coming in there now, and you got an entire new operation. What are you looking forward to change the path here of how your career has gone thus far? I think everybody watching the Giants goes like, man, it'd be awesome to see him on a fully ready-to-go team because of how talented you are, how electrifying you are. Out of nowhere, the game can change with you. It's awesome. You and Jonathan Taylor, very similar styles running, two very different programs right now. Whenever you look ahead to the future, first of what you've been through already in your early career, what are your thoughts and what are your projections?
Well, I think you got to learn from what happened in the past. Obviously, we're going into our third head coach, but with Shermer, with Judge, obviously it was unfortunate that they got fired. But
hey, that's not normal, by the way. You're very young.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
Yeah.
This is not a normal thing.
So like you take what you take from that, you learn. They did some great things that we're going to have to be able to carry over, and we got to be able to keep the core. You know, we got some talented players. We have very talented players. We got to find a way to stay healthy. We got a whole new system, whole new coaching staff coming in. So it's new. The energy is going to be different. As players, we get a chance to prove ourselves again.
Yeah.
That's something big. That's something that I'm looking forward to. Is to prove myself and show there's different things I can do in my game to help this team win. And it's I know it's been rough, but like the past couple, but we're not that far. And I truly believe that we're not that far. We have the talent. Now we bring in the right pieces, the right coaching staff. Obviously, we got to go in the draft well, bring some guys in free agency.
Okay, so here's what I think. I don't know. I would love to ask him. I would love to ask what the scheme is.
Is this a read here on where the middle linebackers lined up right here? Are you able to shift this? Are they able to change this to the center pulling as opposed to the guard pulling with where the linebackers lined up there?
Yeah, that's why we wanted to be kind of in a spread formation right there, just try to put as much width to the formation as we could. And then ultimately the second part of that is being able to sell on a known passing down. I think that was a 2nd and 10. Being able to sell drop back pass, the illusion of our drop back protection. And then ultimately what's going to be the best angle of departure for whoever is going to climb to the second level to try to block 57, because let's not forget who that down player is, whether it's 95, 98. The Jets have a fantastic front. That the goal going into that game was to hopefully just not let them wreck the game, and sometimes that's easier said than done with those types of players. But anytime you can get Dalvin Cook in space with the football in his hands, whether it's 2nd and 10, 1st and 10, really doesn't matter. It's something we're trying to always do, and I got to continue to find ways to do that, but also don't want to miss an opportunity to credit our offensive staff. Some of the ideas that they come up with every week, it makes it fun calling plays.
That's seemingly unstoppable right there. Spread them out, so then you got Mosley kind of on an island right there. And if he lines up head up, we'll have this guy pull, and if he lines up off center, we'll have the center pull in there. That's an option that they can put in there. This modern NFL with all these rules, you're obviously a massive part of it. We need to start saying your name a lot more whenever we start talking about young offensive things. He hit a 64-yard fucking fair catch out of his own end zone right here. Okay, 14-0, end of the second quarter. He's in his own end zone, 64-yard fair catch. A lot of people said, guys shouldn't have fair caught it. Who cares? The returner put his head like this and was like, oh, I probably won't be able to return this. So he gets a fair catch. The ball has to be hit so high and so far to be fair caught. If you get a fair catch over 50 yards, it's great. If you get a 60-yard fair catch, people are like, this dude is a stud. A 64-yard fair catch is fucking demolished. He murders the ball. He has quickly climbed the ranks alongside A.J. Cole of Vegas and Tommy Townsend of the Chiefs of having, like, I think the best punting in the league right now, in the game right now. Guys that can hit balls that nobody else can hit. Camarda started out bad. I think he was rushing. I think he was worried. I think he was trying to get it off too quick. He was in his own head. He has settled in here over like the last 5 weeks. Murders the football.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show on this no football normal day, Thursday, January 5th.
Good energy.
Hey, AJ. OH.
I.O. Con.
Hey. FanDuel Sportsbook is live in Ohio. When states come online with FanDuel, they are typically very generous with boosts. So be sure to monitor FanDuel all week. Tonight, they have 1+ points scored in the Ohio State versus Purdue basketball game. $50 max bet. Welcome to the party, Ohio and AJ. Click the link in our description and get a $200 bonus in bets when you bet $5. Pretty sweet.
Absolutely. Shout out to FanDuel. Shout out to Ohio. Welcome to the family.
Hell yeah.
Welcome to the family. Welcome back. AJ Hawk here. The Toxic Table's here. One half of the Hammer. Dahn Cowboys is here. A 9-year NFL vet who played corner, nickel, and safety. Host of Everything DB is here. A coach who coached football for like 55 years is here. And joining us now is a man who every word that he says captivates millions and millions of people. His job is to go onto television and make magic. His job is to go onto a microphone and let the world know how they should be thinking about things, even though it might not be what they want to hear. This man has created the Take Show recipe. This man has created what everybody wants to become in television. Ladies and gentlemen, host of The First Take, host of the No Mercy podcast, which, hey.
Hell yeah.
Unreal.
It's going.
Big time.
And as of January 17th, this man is an author. I don't know if you wrote any books before. I should have done more research. That's on me. I'm not as professional as he is. Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes. That author, legend, Stephen A. Smith.
What's up, fellas? What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing? How's everything?
Hey, things are great. How about you? You're crushing it. This No Mercy podcast got a new studio. Are you in a new studio right now, Stephen A?
This is a home studio that I'm building, so this is in my home, so I like this. I'll be doing it from various places, but this is one of the places I'll be doing it. I've been doing a podcast since September, but obviously working for ESPN, they needed me to wait until January to go to video. And so as of January 9th, this Monday, I'll be on video now. So maybe I'll have a snowball's chance in hell of competing with you, Pat.
Well,
maybe.
No, we're all trying to keep up with you. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, bro. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate y'all.
Hey,
How y'all doing?
We're great. I didn't plan on diving into this, but have to do this. Happy New Year to you as well. This is your show or ESPN show? You own this show?
No, this is mine. I own it.
Let's go!
Hell
yeah!
Hey! Yeah, everything. I own it lock, stock, and barrel. It's my content. It's my podcast, or what have you. Because I work for ESPN, there was a negotiation that had to take place to get out of the constraints within my contract. But ESPN was extremely cooperative and very, very helpful. I've got a great relationship with Jimmy Pitaro, and he was more than kind enough to allow me to do this. Even though it was a negotiation, nevertheless, I'm here and I'm doing my own thing. And it's not a sports podcast. I touch on politics. I touch on pop culture and entertainment. I'm not limited, and that's the reason why. If it was just sports, it would be something for ESPN because it doesn't get much better than that in the world of sports. But to me, I didn't want to be limited and confined to the world of sports. It was important to me to be able to expand my horizons and step out beyond that, because there's a lot of politics, social issues, pop culture and entertainment, Kanye West to Kyrie, the list goes on and on. I like to be able to talk about all of it and not be limited by it. And I couldn't do that doing a sports podcast for ESPN. So it was important for me to own and operate my own.
Because I thought there was a time there where that was almost being promoted at some sports networks, not just ESPN, but everywhere. Was that something that you thought you wanted to do more of because they were telling you to do more of there for a time? Or was there a conversation about you should do less politics on ESPN? Or did you just feel like it wasn't the right time or place and you're looking for the right time or place, and that's on No Mercy where you can really dive in a little bit deeper? Or how'd that all come about, you think, with you?
I've never been an aficionado when it comes to the world of politics or even social justice issues, but I've always had a passion for current news. I've been a journalist my entire career. And so for me, I've always paid attention to what's going on in the world of news. I started my career off at the New York Daily News. I went from there to the Philadelphia Inquirer, where I got promoted about 9 times and ended up being a general sports columnist before I got into television and all of that. And so for me, I've always been about what's percolating. What matters to the masses is what matters to me. When Jimmy Pitaro came on board, obviously he made a concerted effort for us not to get into politics per se. And I want to tell you that I stood up and support him on that, and I still do, because we did get to a point over the years at ESPN where it was too much politics. It was the politicization of too many different things. And with the sports fan got to a point where they were sending a message that they didn't feel like their needs were being met. And so Jimmy Pitaro comes on board, and he instantly addressed that, and I supported that because I think people have a right to get what they tune in to see from you. My argument, however, was, yes, I will give you that. But when I step away and I have other interests, there's nothing wrong with that either. And then the argument was that I was such a big name that whenever you say Stephen A. Smith, that's synonymous with ESPN. Well, I'm proud to be I'm proud to be a member of ESPN. Please don't get me wrong. And when it comes to sports, I have no issue with it whatsoever. But if I feel some way about a presidential election or something a politician is doing or something that's going on in the streets of America, that's my personal opinion. And I think one of the things that people had a struggle really expressing to the brass is that when you muzzle everybody, any little opinion that emanates from ESPN, everybody thinks it's everybody, it's all of us.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. Pat McAfee does a phenomenal job. I mean, that's an A-list pickup for us doing college football. Okay.
Oh, thanks, man.
Pat McAfee, yeah, I truly mean that. You're exactly what we needed. But Pat McAfee and Kirk Herbstreit think differently. You might think differently than Reese Davis. You might think differently than Desmond Howard. You might think differently than Stephen A. on certain issues. Why is it that we can't stand on our own and make sure everybody understands these opinions are not reflective of the network? They're just mine.
I got it.
And in order to do that, you have to separate yourself from it to send that message. And that's what I did.
Hey, congrats on the evolution there, man. Politics numbers are big. Hey, hey, you're owning that whole thing? Those politics numbers,
go.
People get real passionate about it. They're not going to be able to separate you as the, you know that though, right?
Well, I mean, they try, they may try to lump me in, but I'm going to make a concerted effort to make sure that happens. Like, for example, I'm a fair-minded person, and so I think about fairness. If there's something that I want to get into that I think is too political or whatever, I'd be like, this is First Take. This is not the platform for that. You can check me out on No Mercy, though. But here on this platform, I'm going to give you what you expect. And that's what I try to deliver to my viewers, listeners, and everybody in between.
It's smart business by both you and Jimmy Pitaro, I believe, and especially because you're Stephen A. Smith. Be who you can afford to be. You have earned the right to be able to do a lot different than everybody else, because there's going to be... I think you have...
I would tell you this. But I would tell you this. I want to take a moment to give you props for that, because you know what? As a former NFL player, you come onto the scene and you come into this business. It wasn't me. But there's a lot of people that's jealous of Pat McAfee. There's a lot of people that wish they were Pat McAfee, and they wish that they were in your position. And you know what? They pay attention to the opportunities that you get, but not the work that you put in to get it. And they didn't pay attention to the sacrifices that you make. And more importantly than anything else, the bravery that you had to bet on you. And that's one of the things that, to me, as a guy who's getting to know you better and better every day, what I love about you is that you're a guy that takes chances on you. You believe in you, and you'd be surprised how many of us, including the person you're listening to right now, lack the courage to do that over many years. I was scared to go out on my own. I was raised by West Indian parents, and my mother, God rest her soul, was about putting in the work, punching that clock, going to work every day, getting the job done, going home, saving your money, invest what you can, and have a pension or something along those lines. Pat McAfee of this world is like, wait a minute, there's got to be more to life than that. And you go for it. And suddenly people are looking at you and the resentment kicks in because they're looking at the opportunity that you're getting, but they're not appreciating the work that you put in and the courage you had to exude and display in order to take that chance on yourself. And people like you are what helped me say, F this, I'm going to bet on me. I believe in me.
Well, obviously, that was incredibly kind and nice of you, and I'm incredibly uncomfortable right now. But that was fucking very cool of you to say, because I have a lot of respect and appreciation for you, and I think that you can check the tape. We've always had it. Yep. What you did for sports media is amazing, and I assume what you're going to go on to do to world media. It's going to be the same damn thing. You're a talent, Stephen A., and I'm happy that you're going to go experience what entrepreneurialism is like, because I think you are going to have smashing success. But thank you so much for those words. That was very fucking cool. I will remember that forever. I wish I could take that off and hang it on the refrigerator. That is very, very nice of you. AJ has a question for you.
Well, you know what? Fuck it. I'll hang it on my refrigerator. We'll do it that way. Go ahead, AJ.
Stephen A., hey, a quick pivot. I know there's reports out there that Sean McVay is getting courted again by some networks to leave the coaching sidelines and come into the booth. What do you think about that? Coaches possibly leaving a head coaching position in the NFL to go take a gig with a network?
Split emotions. On one hand, speaking specifically of Sean McVay, on one hand, he's a champion, so he's earned the right to do what he wants. On another note, I would have much rather preferred that you did it last year as opposed to the way y'all stunk up the joint this year.
Yeah.
And then you leave. I don't like the fact that if he ended up doing that, I don't want to remember Sean McVay as somebody that couldn't make the playoffs and won 4 or 5 games in the 17-game season. I want to remember him as that champion that walked out of SoFi Stadium as a Super Bowl champion, beating the Cincinnati Bengals and coaching his butt off the way that he did. But he's earned the right to do whatever he wants to do, and I wish him nothing but the best. Really nice guy, by the way. In terms of coaches, players, or anybody else that get into this stratosphere, I would say the same thing that I'd say to anybody else. Be qualified. And qualification doesn't always mean, going to school and having this degree. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about knowing what the craft entails, knowing the work that has to be put in order to succeed, and committing yourself to do just that. You can't get over it in this business for but so long. If you're a fake, phony ass person, it ain't gonna last. If you're somebody that's duplicitous and you're trying to figure out a way to cut corners, you're not going to last. People like y'all put in the work every day. I listen to y'all whenever I can. The energy does not dissipate. What you get, and that's why Pat McAfee is so important. When you see him with World Wrestling Entertainment, when you see him on College Football Game Day, when you see him jumping in the ponds and swimming and shit like that, you do all of this stuff going on. When you see all of this, the consistency is in the energy and the passion. He sells you his knowledge along with you, AJ, and others. But what happens is it's the energy. There's no dip. When I go on First Take every day, Stephen A shows up. That's my job. And you got a lot of people that come from the world of sports and they think it's going to be easy and they think they're just talking. You got to do your research. You got to do your homework. And you got to pay attention to what other people are saying so you can make sure you're not regurgitating other people's comment, mimicking what they say, or worse, not know what the hell you're talking about and think that you're going to slide under the radar and collect the check. It's not going to last. It's far more serious and intense than people realize. You got to be ready for it. A lot of people think they are. But trust me, they ain't.
Well, that's an incredible monologue there about what people need to hear, because when I retired,
Yeah.
boy, I got much more busy, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I did not expect with that. And then I accidentally signed up for Thursday Night Football to call those Thursday Night Football games. The amount of time and travel and investment in teams that I will probably never talk about again.
No way.
The amount of investment that you have to, but you have to do that sort of homework so that when you're on the microphone, you can have some sort of confidence and have some sort of direction when you're speaking. It's a lot. It's a lot easier, than laying bricks and would never ever in the military and everything like that. But it is a lot of fucking work. And I think to your point, once again, you complimented me again, so fucking stop it. But
I'll stop. I'll stop.
Okay, but when we're watching people like you, like others, it's very obvious. Right? It's very obvious who is just doing like a simple thing right now. And I think negativity is a real easy way to get clicks. It's a real easy take too. I think having like a sophisticated, maybe a different look at it is much harder. It takes more research. You have to look into some more stuff. And that's why I think you've had such great success, because a lot of people say, oh, Stephen A is that don't like Stephen A. He's the guy that yells. It's like, yeah, he's definitely loud and he has energy, but you listen to what's coming out of his mouth. We got some very valid points, and that's why you've had the success that you've had. If you just yelled bullshit, it wouldn't work. Let's talk about this morning, okay?
That's right.
Okay, let's talk about this morning, Stephen A. All right?
Sure. Yeah.
Beautiful new set over there. Hey,
yeah.
mercy.
Gorgeous.
That's a beautiful set. I hope that gets displayed whenever you're being, phoned into First Take, because whenever they decided for First Take to become the Stephen A show with Molly kicking ass, but just have a rotating cast come in and talk to Stephen A, more Stephen A, we thought that was good news. This is a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
Put this guy up against a lot of people. We have a little bit more diversity in this whole thing, and Stephen A will shine through it all. We fucking love First Take. We watch it every day.
Every day on the big board.
Big board. 4 TV.
Well,
this morning. No, Stephen A. This morning. What do you say? What did you say this morning? You go
about Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, when you go, hey, Aaron.
Shut up,
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, I don't want to hear you talking about you maybe being done after this game on. Shut it. You used to be a bad man. And then you become a bad man. You got a big game this Sunday against the Lions.
That's right.
And now we're hearing you talk about potential football life ending.
Right.
Shut up, Aaron Rodgers. You're making it. That's what you said this morning. What happened?
Yeah. Well,
what happened?
Actually, quote me accurate. I told him to shut the hell up.
Oh!
Okay, that's number one. That's
I
number
got
one.
it all right.
Number two, let me say this to you. I have been accused at ESPN for years for having a man crush on Aaron Rodgers.
Us too, yeah.
I think this brother is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. And I hope that you replay this for him.
Well, I don't know if he's going to listen. You told him to shut the hell up.
I got. Let me explain. Aaron Rodgers is the greatest talent I've ever seen at the quarterback position in my life. And I understand everybody talking about Patrick Mahomes, but longevity matters to me. When he puts in another 8-10 years of that, come talk to me. But Aaron Rodgers has been doing this for years. The reason why I went ballistic about Aaron Rodgers this morning is because you haven't been yourself. Last couple of years, you gave a press conference before last season about not wanting to be there and why you had felt that way and some of the things that Green Bay had put you through the years, which I happen to know. I felt they didn't lack respect for him. They lacked appreciation for him. They took him for granted. They rode his coattails and his shoulders for years. The nerve of them to be remotely disrespectful to him. All of those things I've expressed about the Green Bay Packers.
Great promo here.
But the bottom line is this. This year, for the first 2/3 of the season, y'all sucked. Period.
Agreed.
And Aaron Rodgers had a role to play in that. Now, over the last 4 weeks, I think that he's played very well. I think he's reminded us of the greatness of Aaron Rodgers. So we're one game away before the playoffs are to begin after you went 4-8 and your team was stinking up the joint. And you sitting there, well, the memories were nice. And, I mean, if this is it, excuse my language. The fuck are you talking about? I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I'm looking at you and I'm saying, look, man, even at 8-8, 9-8, you get to the playoffs. They got to deal with Aaron Rodgers. And I don't care about who lost, how many playoff games you lost before. You're Aaron freaking Rodgers. Excuse me. You get in, it's a game changer. It's a different ballgame. We talk about the pass rush of the Dallas Cowboys. We talk about the complete team, the Philadelphia Eagles, at least were before Jalen Hurts went down. We could talk about Christian McCaffrey arriving in San Francisco. Debo's going to come back. San Francisco's going to be X, Y, Z. Let me tell you something. You can't dismiss no Aaron Rodgers.
No.
That brother's something special. So when I feel this way about him, and I've been articulating this for years, and after the season you have, and you're going to sit up there, the memories have been nice. I mean, if we lose, we lose. I mean, we control our destiny. But, if it happens, to me, that reeks of life goes on. I'm going to be all right. I got my bag, the $50 million per year. Now, he deserves it. He's earned it, and I ain't hating on it. I love it. Love the fact that he is. But what I'm saying is, when you got fans like me, who is a fan of Aaron Rodgers, I want that brother like this. We here. You shouldn't have let us get here. Y'all in the damn trouble because here we come. That's what I want to hear from Aaron Rodgers. And I ain't hear that. Come on, man. I want to hear that, Pat.
Steven,
I want to hear that.
I think 2 ayahuasca trips ago, maybe, you'd hear that. You know what I mean? He's a little different man at this stage. He operates differently. He was asked, too, about it. I think he was asked about it, so he gave a thoughtful and open answer. But I could see how you would want him to have, hey, let's have a little bit more. Hey, what are your thoughts on this maybe being?
I want this.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I could see that, and I wouldn't mind.
I want this.
If he, with that new haircut, comes out and cuts a promo, and he's like, I ain't worried about any of that right now. I'm worried about the Detroit Lions, the brand new Lions with MCDC. We win, we get in, we're playing our best ball. I could hear that, too. I understand. You seem to be a little bit aggressive, though, with the shut the hell. You're
because of him.
You're a little.
Because it's him. I love this guy.
Okay.
All these people
Man crush.
You know how much stuff this guy has had to deal with? You got his brother on The Bachelor talking nonsense years ago about him. You got people all in this business about his women knowing you wish you were with them instead of him. You find every excuse to talk about Aaron Rodgers. And I've been the one sitting there. Y'all shut the hell up. This is the best. Man. It's somebody special. Y'all mind your business. And then he come on the air. We do. It's been a nice ride. What? I do not want to hear that from Aaron Rodgers.
I got it. You said he's making it hard for you to continue to do this whenever you display things that prove everybody else's point. I got it. I understand I understand what you're doing. We'll see how the game goes. Excited to hear how he reacts to all of this. Probably next Tuesday. Right here. Can't wait for it. Ty has a question for you. Owner of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, Stephen A., that was awesome. Loved hearing that. Going back to something you said a little bit earlier about when you show up on the set of First Take, like you're Stephen A. and you know exactly what you need to do. You never have an off day, to your point. But, for like us, we've only been doing this a couple years now. Obviously, haven't done it day in and day out like you have. We always talk about competitive stamina. How do you continue to have that competitive stamina when sometimes you go and it's like, shit, I don't want to talk about anything today, or I don't want, or whatever the topic is at hand that day. Like, I don't want to get into a spirited debate about something. Like, how do you kind of flip that switch every single day? Maybe if you going in know, like, shit, I don't have my A game today.
Well, a couple of things. Number one, I remember one of my colleagues once said about me, he said that when the lights come on, I'm just different. It's like the lights are on and people expect, a quality product, and I'm going to give it to them, and I'm not going to fake it, because you can't sustain fakeness. Fakeness is going to ultimately reveal itself to be fake, and then you'll crumble. And so for me, to try to be the best that I can be, particularly when the lights come on. I mean, I got close to 500,000 people watching me live on linear television. I've averaged every morning. I've averaged over 1.5 billion views on YouTube per year for the last couple of years. And so I realize that I'm in the eye of the storm. And then I take into account the role that I have because I'm at ESPN and because of my contract and because of what I've accomplished. Even the bosses tell me I'm the face of the network. And so there's a level of responsibility that comes with that, and I know that. But to answer the question directly, the biggest thing that I've done is make sure that I'm surrounded with people that I love working with. I think Molly Karam is phenomenal. Swagoo, Marcus Spears, Keyshawn Johnson, Michael Irvin, Mad Dog, Christopher Roos, Dan Orlovsky, Ryan Clark, and all the contributors that come on. They're not just colleagues, they're personal friends who I love dearly and I would do anything for, and that's just to name a few. And so think about y'all going to work every day. It helps that you're surrounded with people you're cool with.
Oh, yeah.
You like being around. Hold on to that for dear life, because I got news for you. No one likes everyone they work with in corporate America. Nobody. We all got to tolerate people we don't give a shit about, but we got to work with that day. Okay? And for me, the most fortunate part of my job is that I don't have that. Everybody that I work with, I got love for, and they got love for me. And we all assist each other in trying to make each other thrive.
Well, you guys are doing a great job. I got to watch you walk into that seaport one time. Sunglasses on, I believe. AirPods were in. Jacket on. I was in the green room in the back. There's like a little turn, and then the green room's in the back. I saw this dude turn the corner, and I've never seen a cooler fuck ever in my life. That was my first time seeing you, like, walking in. I think you gave, like, a cool dap up to somebody as you walked by. Then you went into your First Take studio or whatever, and I was like, geez, this dude is literally levitating through here. I don't want to say that you've kind of put the daytime on your back, but you and Greeny definitely have, and it has been fantastic to watch. I know you don't have a lot of time left, but Darius wants to get a question in here about something you know a lot about, which is the association.
Yeah, I gotta pivot to basketball because I'm not tapped in yet. Won't be until February after the Super Bowl is over. But have been watching KD, Kyrie, Coach Vaughn out there, the Nets, and that'll probably be my pick to win it all this year if they can figure it out. I know you had a lot to say about some of those players on the team and that team. How's your feelings there? And do you like their title chance? If not them, who else are you feeling can make a run?
Well, first of all, a couple of things. Number one, I know we're running out of time, so here's the deal. You want me to come back and talk to you about the NBA in a few months, I'm happy to do that. Number two, I'll do that for you, number one. Number two, I meant every goddamn word I said when I was saying it. Whether it's about Kyrie, KD, or anybody else. I didn't stutter, I didn't back up, and that's still the case. Having said that, you notice I never question their greatness as talent. Kyrie is sensational. without question. KD is an MVP candidate, one of the best players on the planet. I believe when healthy, he is the best on the planet. He's just a scoring machine. There is no matchup for him. I look at Brooklyn, however, I think they're a bit thin on their front line. They can beat anybody. But to ensure that they would beat a Boston or Milwaukee, which I'm not sure they would do at this particular moment, I still think they would take Milwaukee. I don't know if I don't believe they'll take Boston. I think that Boston with Tatum, with Brown, with Robbie, Robert Williams coming back, and he's at the center position with Marcus Smart with the pickup of Brogdon, with White and those brothers, and then being fresh in the NBA Finals. Missoula's doing a hell of a job, and we'll see whether or not that continues once other coaches figure him out. He's not Ime Udoka, but he might be. The bottom line is this.
Well,
I look at Boston as the best team. They obviously swept Brooklyn last year in the postseason in the first round. I don't believe that would happen this go round. Brooklyn, I believe, needs a little bit more girth on their front line. They need to just find a big body that's just there to bang. That's what they need. Somebody that can move bodies. They got everything else. And I think Jacques Vaughn's doing a hell of a job. I think he's doing a hell of a job. And he's a Coach of the Year candidate.
All right, we'll go put every dollar we have on that. Thank you, Stephen A, for the recommendation. We can't wait to chat with you, hopefully, in a couple months, whenever you come back. Good luck with No Mercy. Good luck with the book, Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes. Hardcover coming out January 17th, 2023. If you want to learn about the life of a man who has transcended sport and sports media in a beautiful fashion, the book comes out January 17th. Thank you so much, Stephen A.
Man, appreciate y'all, man. Thanks so much. Happy New Year. See you soon, Pat.
Hey, you said a lot of very nice things about me. I would like to reciprocate all of them and then some. You are the man. Happy New Year, Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah!
That was too much, sir, early.
Yeah, that was incredible.
That was
We
a lot.
might have to somehow print that out on one of those,
Got to.
mobile frames.
Yeah, you could do that.
And put it on your fridge so you can,
Like an
anytime
NFT or-
unmute it.
That was really nice. He was talking about us as a whole whenever he's talking about that, but certainly we have rattled some things, I think, in some places.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Team.
Take a little credit here.
Team doesn't happen without the team. Obviously, you got to have a good team around you. And what you said there about working with people that you like, like that is a big deal
for sure.
That's why
That's the only deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why you haven't seen us hire really at all, because could add somebody that's great and fits in perfectly. Certainly could. I think we're a good group. I think there is people that could fit in and match in really well and handle. But if you don't, then I, as the senior leadership here, would have to deal with the exit of said person as well, with balancing obviously so many different things. It's like I don't want to sign up for that, and that's thinking very negatively. But it's just, in this particular role that I currently have to think about that every once in a while, which I hate doing. But that has certainly scared the shit out of me out of hiring anybody as of late. And it's, Dirty came in here fucking awesome. Dirty came in and was incredible. We appreciate the hell out of you, Dirty. Mitt came in strictly because it's like, all right, I've known this fuck since he was 12. He'll be able to figure it out. He's been there before, but that's a scary thing to do. Congrats to Stephen A. being around everybody in corporate America that he likes. It seems like he's got it set up over there at Seaport.
It's a lot of hours. A lot of hours we have spent. That's the thing is, it's been basically the same people from since you retired and started this. Like, it's just asking someone to come in and, if it wasn't someone like D-Butt who you already knew incredibly well and was cool to us from the get-go, like it just...
And didn't suck. Like, he doesn't suck. No, Chuck doesn't suck.
Exactly, but it's...
AQ.
He sucks.
But it's like it's 5 to 6 years of every single day, multiple hours, like building chemistry, and like it's almost impossible to imagine someone coming in and being able to just pick it up and run with it.
That's why going into game day was something.
Yeah.
That's why I felt obligated to go to those production room meetings on Fridays, which I said this yesterday, like didn't have to do. Part of the contract did not have to be there for that whole thing. Negotiated that in there because I didn't want to miss any of this particular show. But then once you start like learning about who's behind the scenes, it's like, been there 20 years, been there 20 years, 15 years, 27 years. Okay, 8 years. Wow, you haven't been here that long. 8 years. A doctor. That's a doctorate. That's how long it takes, basically. It's like, I should probably try to get in here and introduce these people to who I am, because chemistry is the most important thing, I think, in anything for the success of anything. Chuck, whenever a player comes in, they're not good for your culture. How quickly do you recognize it, and how do you change it? Can you try to change the person, or do you know when you know?
Yeah, but the locker room knows. The players, you guys know before we know. Because sometimes we get blindsided because of the talent and this, that, and the other. But if there's somebody, it's like you got cancer in your arm, and the doc says, okay, you can keep your arm, but you're going to live 6 months. All right, we can take the arm, and you're going to live till you're 95 years old. What are you going to do?
Take the arm.
You got all of us would sign up and say, take the arm. I'll do whatever I have to do, but I want to live. So chemistry is huge. Can you imagine the hours you got, to your point, that you spend here together, and you're working around a bunch of assholes? The guys that you walk into, like if there's a player or two, and they're everywhere, right? And we all got a Lulu in our family. Hey, Lulu's coming to Thanksgiving.
I gotcha.
Right when you think,
yeah.
Right when you think that, you may be the Lulu as well. So you got to make sure your shit's in order.
You don't have one, it's you, buddy.
But that's real, because you're walking in a building and say, God, I don't want to be around this dude for the next 8 hours. So what you build here, and what you build, like our coaching staffs and the people, there's a bunch of us, and I couldn't imagine being around people that I did not like. Let alone trust and their brains and what they're doing, and they got your back and all that loyalty stuff. But can you imagine going into a place?
How do you measure that? How do you measure that, AJ? Like at the combine? Because we talk about it when it comes to a team, because we've been on this same page for a long time. Like, I want to know the team. Like last night, I saw the video from the night before the NFC Championship game for the Philadelphia Eagles back in 18 or whatever.
Yep.
And they're playing Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares. And I think we had already known that was kind of their song, but it hadn't blossomed yet. I think that next day in the NFC Championship game, it was going to become a full show. I think that's when we all kind of learned about that being they were playing it in a team meeting room the night before the NFC Championship game. This video came out the night before championship game. I thought you'd be in a hotel. They're clearly in a team meeting room here, so I don't know how they were handling it all. But the whole place is jumping. Yeah. That's the night before an NFC.
Go vibes.
You know how big of a game that is?
Yeah.
Do you know how nervous people could be? Instead, I think that's LeGarrette Blount over there jumping on his way in. There's coaches in the back. There's another angle coming out, jumping and bouncing alongside of it. It's like that team way too tight to lose. And by tight, I mean like a group, not tight as in like nervous. Like, how do you find that? I honestly, we have this conversation a lot, and I'm not sure we found the answer yet. How do you know? I don't know how you can test
Wouldn't you
for that.
think Chuck could answer better? But I would imagine coming out of when you're like, say you're talking to guys at the combine, hey, would this guy be a good fit in our locker room? I would imagine you have to trust like the trainers, the different people that person dealt with, talk to some of their teachers, some of the professors possibly. And then if you have a good relationship with their coaches, if they're going to shoot you straight and let you know for real what this person's really like.
I'm thankful that the Colts didn't do any of that. I never went to class, and the professors would have no idea.
But that's real, because we get a 15-minute interview at the combine. What are you going to find out in 15 minutes? Because one guy goes, hey, give us your background. So if this guy had some stuff in his life and he's got 2 or 3 red flags, 14 minutes has gone by. He's trying to explain, hey, I didn't touch her. I didn't do this. I didn't do that.
I was drunk.
He's going through this whole deal, right?
I was drunk in public. I meant to be drunk in a bar.
Sorry.
I had to do that.
Someone's supposed to be watching my back while I pee.
Yeah, I went. There was an alley. They shut down every bathroom in the entire city. What am I supposed to do? It's 2 a.m., bro. Penny pitchers. And,
but those scouts, the scouts that are on the road, for the whole fall, we get those 15 minutes, but it's your scouts. It's your personnel department that they go and they scour. And they're going to talk to the coaches. And a lot of time the coaches aren't going to say anything negative. They can't. Because if that gets back, and then it becomes a recruiting issue, gets back to a high school, hey, this guy badmouth. So those guys can't. So, but you got to dig. So go to the class, go to a professor, go to the chow hall, go to somebody that cooks for these kids, and say, hey, what do you think about such and such? You'll find somebody, and they don't have to say a lot. I used to be the pro liaison at the University of Miami when I was down there, and guys would come in and they'd ask, and I'd have to get up and talk about all the players. Hey, what do you think about such and such? Good player, good kid.
Oh, he stinks.
Yep.
So you can say a lot without saying a lot.
Yeah, but do those people know that what they're saying is saying a lot? Like, what if
they
you
should, or they should get fired?
That's what I'm saying.
And then when you do say that, knowing that you got to maintain your reputation too, so you can't feed them bullshit and say every guy's great, every guy's a great locker room guy, because then they come back to you, hey, we just drafted this motherfucker 8 overall.
Everyone hates.
And now
they're not coming back. You ain't going to be the pro liaison. You're not going to talk to those guys.
Tough.
Some guy, one team at the Senior Bowl, said the night you got your public intoxication or public whatever it was in college, minor in possession is what Morgantown calls it, just so they can collect $100 from you and collect your fake ID and then move on or whatever. When you did that, were you out with players or were you alone? And I was like, what's that? He was like, did you go out alone or were you with your teammates? I was like, I don't know if I should even talk about that. And he was like, were you alone or not? And I was like, I don't hang out alone, no. He was like, okay, so you were out with your teammates, had a good time. You're the only one that got caught. I was like, whoa. Now you're putting stories together. I actually went to the bathroom. You know what I mean? I actually went to the bathroom, and my lookout was actually, he had to go to the bathroom too, because once again, no bathrooms are open 2 a.m. What the fuck are we supposed to do? This is before Uber. So I don't know what I was supposed to do. I thought I did the right thing. He's like, got it. And then that person, I learned from a coach later, said like, probably good locker room guy out with teammates, like that whole thing. It was like, drink guy, we could have actually had a beer. That was, it ended up being something that like a coach told me later, like, hey, this is what we heard about you coming out of college or whatever. Is this true or whatever? I'm like, yeah, I do remember talking to that guy because every team has like agents, retired agents that do their look into. Some people have like what mental coaches from Navy SEALs. Doesn't I think the Colts have like a Navy SEAL.
Matt Ryan.
No.
Brian Decker.
Right, a Navy SEAL who does some sort of
real
reading and testing and everything on people and conversation, what their grit is and where their level is.
Because that's the hardest thing to figure out, right? What makes man tick? Because we can watch tape, we can evaluate the tape, we can see what he puts on the field, we do the measurables, we see how fast he is, how high he can jump, all that stuff, right? But this is what you got to figure out. This is what you got to find out.
Yeah. And then do you ever really know till some shit goes down?
Yeah, we've learned a lot about people real quick.
Yeah, shit goes
What happens
down
when you pay that person too?
Yep. When they get paid,
bad,
when they become a star player, they start to get success. How do you handle success? How do the people around them? So it's a lot of different variables in that locker room shit. Now, this stage and this my post football career, I've been blessed to work with a bunch of people I like. But in the locker room, you don't like everybody, but you know how to get along, go out there and do your job. You know when it's time to work. When you are in the locker room.
Who'd you hate?
I didn't hate anybody.
I
didn't hate
the same people.
I never hated anybody, but it was definitely people where we didn't hang out off the field, and it was cool. They're whoever they are, and maybe they like being a loner, so that's cool too. But they show up, they're on time, they do their work, they handle their business, they're gonna be lined up, and shit, we get our job done. We go home.
I loved kind of watching new guys come in the locker room, and just kind of seeing how they work and how they don't work. There was a guy that showed up in our locker room that I think 4 steps in was like, oh, this guy sucks.
Oh, really?
Middle of the season.
How could you tell?
Didn't even talk to. Well, first of all, never took headphones off.
Yeah.
Okay, while people were
introducing themselves.
And I
first day in, he's got his headphones.
First entrance in the locker room, and I'm sitting in my
punched him right off.
My locker is in the middle. My locker is in the middle, kind of. So I have good eyes over here where. Kind of skill and DNs are, and then this way there was like offense and everything like that. So I kind of had good view on pretty much everything. Old buddy walks in, headphones on, and I see some skill guys like introducing themselves to him, and I would assume that this guy would have been a little, and he was like kind of, I don't want to say like big time, but definitely standoffish. I'm like, oh, this must be an awkward fuck or whatever. And then like goes through the whole thing, and then like anytime we saw him, never had those off, and it was like, this guy doesn't want to talk to anybody. This guy.
I feel like I know
This is literally like at a bar that I was in San Francisco this past weekend watching those games. I just kept those AirPods in my ear. That's like a hey.
Don't talk to me.
Please.
Bring it to someone else.
Please.
You know what helps the NFL? The top 30 visits? So you can bring 30 guys in every year.
Colts did that.
So that gives you an opportunity to bring a guy into your building. You do a physical, but he's going to be there for a big chunk of time. So he can be surrounded by a bunch of. You can get him around your players. You can put him with a panel.
Did you do
He's
that?
going to be around the trainer.
Did you do any of those?
Yeah, I did a few of them. With Rams, I think there was still St. Louis. Yeah, St. Louis,
New
and
England.
then Minnesota, and then the Jets. I think I did 3.
Colts, I had one here, and tell me if yours was the same. And AJ, you were number 5 overall, so I assume you were in the building before you got drafted over there. So tell me if
He's probably picking where
mine's different or not. Did you do any of these top 30 visits? Yes.
Yeah, I did like 4 or 5, but not Green Bay, and they didn't bring me in.
Oh, they knew they were trying to.
Exactly. This guy's
There's a lot of gamesmanship when it comes to that too.
Yeah,
because when they come in, they say, "Where are you going? Who's bringing you in?" So you're writing all that stuff.
I remember when Andrew came in before he got drafted, and he was going to Washington next, and I believe the full conversation was like, "Don't go. Like, why are you?"
Nah, we're gonna pick it.
Yeah.
And he was like, he felt obligated to, I think, because he was a good guy. Coming in for the Colts is the only one I had, and they have a scout pick you up. A scout picked me up. He drove me for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours in a car all around this fucking city. I had to go from the airport to Carmel to some other place on the south side to get test physical, then finally drive back up to where the fucking practice facility is, which is another one. I was in his car for 2 hours. This guy and I talked about a lot. And it wasn't until like probably 45 minutes in, I'm like, oh, this is on purpose. Like but I lived on the road pretty much my entire teenage life because of soccer. So I felt good, talking shit about stuff. I was like doing my thing. And then I get in the building. Tom Telesco has me sit in a room. They had me sit there probably like 30, 45 minutes. And I'm like, are they watching me through like...
Yeah, that's what happened with Gronk.
Side of glass.
Like, am I being I feel like I'm being watched right now. And then Tom comes in and it's like a real convo for like another hour, 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'm on my way out and I don't hear from them again. I didn't hear from the Colts again until draft night when they traded with the Eagles and I get drafted. I was like, that entire time they were trying to...
Just to see if you'd bitch or whatever.
Bitch, or if I seemed like... Because I did have that minor in possession, there was a lot of like, what is this guy? What is he not? Now, obviously, that was an indicator. Second year, that was an indicator. Should have learned my lesson. Okay, that's on me. 100% on me. But yeah, I felt like that's what they were trying to do that entire time. You're 100% right with that top 30 visit.
Well, and there's one call, I think, if you remember, 2 years ago when a trainer for North Dakota State called in talking about Trey Lance.
Oh, yeah.
About how he's a great guy, and obviously what you see with the Niners, he's out with George Kittle doing everything. It is a bummer to hear Trent Richardson was like that when he came to the Colts.
That's
a huge bummer.
Let's take it.
And we joke about it too. And I know I'm not sure what Zito's saying, but like the draft day, did this guy have players at the birthday party? Like that entire conversation is real.
I think that was written into the movie to showcase that whole convo that we just had, and they figured that was the most creative way to describe that.
Yeah.
But that is an answer that every team is trying to get and most difficult to have. But if you have a good locker room, you can win, regardless of all the other things. Let's talk about some breaking news coming out of Damar Hamlin's health scare. Tom Pelissero is reporting that Dr. Pritz says Damar Hamlin's signs of improvement, including emerging from his sleep following commands and asking who won the game. Dr. Pritz clarifies that Hamlin cannot speak and still has a breathing tube in. He has been communicating in writing. Last night, this guy can write?
Okay.
Let's go, dude. Our response was, Damar, you won. You won the game of life.
You're right.
That's fucking awesome. Dr. Pritz says they have explained to Hamlin what happened, and he expressed surprise that he had not been with the world for 2 days. Also talked with him about all the support. His first note was, did we win? It's not only that the lights are on, we know that he's home, says Dr. Pritz, who has been working with Damar Hamlin at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. Remarkable news.
Yeah. Awesome.
Hell yeah. Big thank you to everybody medically that has done incredible work with a very scary, devastating primetime football situation. Damar Hamlin seemingly all the way back. Writing now, dexterity still there. Who won the game? Remembers game.
Yeah.
That he was at game. Surprised that he hasn't been around for the last 2 days. This seemingly is the greatest news we can get.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats,
And he woke
Damar.
up on his. Aren't they saying he woke up on his own too? Like that's awesome.
Yeah, like, hey, Damar. Writes down, I'm fucking sleeping, dude.
Yeah.
What the hell?
What's the deal? Congrats to Damar.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
unreal.
Can you imagine that building right now, that locker room, that team?
Buffalo
Can you
Bills?
imagine the galvanization that's going to take place now?
Wouldn't want to be playing them this week.
Yeah, that would suck.
Well, they might have 8 spots, but the whole world breathes a massive sigh of relief from Dr. Pritz's update there. That's amazing to hear. Let's take a break.
Yep.
On the other side, we will wrap up the glorious day that is January 5th, 2023, the day that we learned that it is possible in the world that we currently live in. There's a lot of shit that happens in our world that we don't like. It is possible for somebody to have to receive CPR for 9 straight minutes in front of the entire world, then get in an ambulance, get to a hospital, and 2 days later, basically be back with full neurologically intact. And the doctor reiterated that fact, that there's no signs of any deficit.
home.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Mom and dad.
Yeah, man.
They were very positive through that whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Rooney became the spokesperson for the family. I'm sure that was, It didn't look like he was enjoying. A lot of people were saying he was taking advantage of the moment and everything like that because people are naturally cynical on everything. I would assume that the family and everybody is pumped to be at this stage.
Yeah.
And the positive vibes that we had heard about and the belief that Damar is Damar, so he'll get through this, rang true. Let's go, dude. Go. All right, we're back in 5. Take 5.
We now have a returner who they kick the ball away from. That's incredible. I mean, what Keyshawn has done in the short amount of time. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, it's not like being on the kickoff team is tough. He just ran around like 4 guys there, starting the other side of the 50. It's pretty impressive. He had a bunch of great returns. I saw he's had 8 30-plus yard kickoff returns, and we only had 9 like in the last 3 years or something crazy like that. And he's only been doing it for, what, the last 8 or 9 weeks? You probably like that tackle there, didn't you, Pat?
Yeah. I like the old submarine dive in there by the kicker, but also, did you see, I was just pointing out Bisaccia. Bisaccia's running down the sideline with him.
Can you circle it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right
there
there.
he is.
Right there. And he had been sprinting literally down the whole sideline, and then the pile gets over here, which it's a spark. You know, a big return is like an immediate juice. You guys have never had that. And at the beginning of the year, I don't think the Bisaccia effect had fully taken place. It feels like you're in a good spot now in a phase of the game that you haven't been for what, like decades almost.
Well, I would say the last time you felt really, really good about a returner back there was probably young Randall Cobb. You know, his first game ever, he returned it like 108 for a touchdown. You know, Micah Hyde as well was a good returner for us. I think he returned a couple punts for a touchdown. But kickoff return, man, that's been a long time. It really has. It's been a lot of like, no. Oh. And now it's like, bring it out, Keith. Bring it out. Come on.
They want to play for the Yankees one day, the people I'm playing against. They want to play for the fucking Yankees.
Check out, like, in there, we put a little surprise in there for you.
About to get iced, it feels like. Yeah, I mean, let's start the day, I guess.
What the fuck you get
It's great to be a member of the Washington Wild Things baseball team. We're number 1 in the league, right?
Yeah, let's fucking go.
Fuck everybody. Fuck everybody else. When I take BP, will there be anybody telling me how to fuck the hit? No. Feels like the wind's blowing this way. Yeah. Might have to attack that fence tonight, huh? Hey, you got it! Does the DJ play heaters like this all night? I started hitting 2 days ago. Oh, you'll be fine. I think I figured it out. You'll probably only face 90 miles an hour, right? Is that me in the game then? This is a good at bat. This is a good at bat. Oh shit! Oh shit! Give me it!
1-1 pitch.
Let's go!
Line drive. Right
son of a
at
bitch!
the
That came down a lot faster than I thought, though. Let's be honest.
It's deep, and it is off the wall. Field it up.
Excuse me! If you could all get off of my dick, we would be better off. Tell you what, would have been nice to take a nap earlier.
Another throw.
Get back!
First.
You have to tell me when that's happening. You're making me look bad. Hey, Steven, fuck you. Hey, fuck you, Steven. Hey, nice pitch. 149. Does that feel good, Steven? Oh, wow. Wow.
He tosses him the ball.
Wow. Back to being a player now. Making plays. Touchdown. What inning is it?
Top of the second.
Jesus. But it was finally my time to get in that box.
Number 1, the right fielder, the former punter from West Virginia, a former Indianapolis Colt, and a current Barstool Sports personality, Pat McAfee.
The anticipation is real.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, right at Pat. Hit out.
I'm in the hole? Son of a bitch. This is about to happen.
And that will bring up Pat McAfee once again.
First pitch from Reynaldo Lopez, swing and a miss by McAfee.
Hey. What was that? And the catcher goes, I had to give you one.
Looked off speed.
What was that? Then I look at the pitcher, and he's smiling. He's like laughing, like he's toying with me like I'm a child. It all comes down to this. My last at-bat. Hey, I'm gonna get on. You bring me home.
This is your life on the line, fucker.
Let me tell you something. You're going to take an L, okay? You're going to take one.
So I think that the close your eyes and swing method is perfect for you.
Oh, this is hardball.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Jesus. You have no prayer.
Now batting, number 1, right fielder, McAfee.
boy.
Oh, this is the thing.
Let's go!
Up next on PMSN 14, how a local man won thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from the world's #1 sportsbook this past weekend. With more, here's Nikki Lucine.
Hello and welcome to this special investigative report. What was once considered dirty and dangerous, sports wagering, now regulated and legalized, has many of us dreaming big. We're all searching for the big one, a wager of massive proportions. One of PMI's own, Boston Connor, was able to accomplish just that this weekend.
We sat down with the brazen member of the toxic table himself, just to find out how it all happened.
Yeah, it's been about 3 years or so of me placing these bets going all the way back to 2020, and you never think that every single guy on your parlay is going to score 2 touchdowns, let alone a same game parlay plus, but somehow, some way it happened, and I'm just relieved that telling people over and over and over again that plus 155,000 odds bets can hit finally did hit.
The wager consisted of 2 same-game parlays, combined to create a same-game parlay plus.
Devontae Adams, everyone said he stunk after last week because he only had 1 catch for 3 yards, so I figured Devontae's pretty good at football. He'll score 2. Travis Etienne, he was just kind of like, Etienne's playing well, he's never scored 2 touchdowns. You might as well just throw him in there just because, it. Austin Eckler, he always scores 2 touchdowns. And then Cordero Patterson, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he's just coming off the IR, and I figure when they get to the goal line, they'll give it to Cordero, and they did. So that's kind of why I picked those 4. There's no real rhyme or reason, but yeah.
We did the math to calculate just how much of an investment this actually was. 50 total weeks at a median bet amount of $25 was $1,250 in 2+ touchdown parlays with a net of $26,750 after hitting this same game parlay plus.
Really? Holy shit.
What do you plan to spend the remaining winnings on?
Sunglasses and bubblegum, maybe cigarettes, I don't know.
Until next time, good night, good morrow, good luck, and good fortunes.
Those jorts are making me cry.
I'll tell you what, I walked into the production meeting at game day. I had 45 different looks. They're trying to find me pants. Nothing's open yet, so let the Cavs breathe here in Memphis, Tennessee.
Buffalo, New York with Friday Night SmackDown, and now I get a chance to be amongst the incredible drunks of Memphis, Tennessee. It's been a wild 12 hours.
Right here in the middle of Beale Street, as soon as this legend showed up, the place started chanting Penny.
You know, our fans are incredible. We have the best fans in the world. So when you have a kid come here and see this, it sells itself. So,
T-I-G-E-R-S, Tiger. Let's just say what it is. Tennessee has stunk for a long time. They stink. This Navy team, obviously, honorable American badasses. What they got going on is incredible. But to beat the dog grumpy out of UConn has to feel good. You had one job. I don't think it is taking your guys' legs out, especially on the 6-yard line. And bam! Oh! Man down. I think he popped a hammy, possibly tore his ACL. One of the most brutal, gruesome injuries I've ever seen on a football field. I think what you do is you send it back to the main stage with a beautiful shot of Beale Street. On Beale Street.
I enjoy the fuck out of it. I have no idea what I'm talking about most of the time. The train keeps rolling. What a fucking wild, 47 hours or something. Another ball, another ball.
Okay.
Oh! Whistle tip, sir!
Oh, shit.
Whistle tip!
Caliber.
Oh, good. Oh, got one. Oh, arm shot. Arm shot.
All right.
It got shot. It got shot late.
Hey, how about a putt? How about a putt? How about a putt? Can go 2 or 5 on the putting green. 15 people will win $500. All you gotta do is retweet this video, say something nice to somebody, and put your. We gotta make another one. You gotta make one. Chuck Dahn looking to win 15 people $500.
Nice late break.
On the green. Let's. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who's coached football.
In the hole!
Pushes. Do you want noise or no noise, Chuck?
Let's go, baby.
Riding the bull, respect.
Let's go.
That was amazing.
Wow.
Way to go.
Voice a shot for Monday.
Yeah. 15 people, $500. All you gotta do is retweet that video, say something nice to somebody in a reply, and put your cash tag in there as well so we can pay you officially on Cash App.
Wow.
Chuck Pagano stepping on the green and making magic.
Unbelievable.
Way to go.
Chuck.
Ask for the noise on the green.
AJ almost blew out my eardrum.
AJ did nothing.
I mean, you talk about going from break to just coming back, brain and ears instantly gone from everything. Like that was jarring for a second. I did not know it was happening.
Bad idea, you think? Good idea, you know, potentially.
Chuck made it. It's a good idea. Obviously, he made him.
Hell yeah, Chuck.
Boy, Chuck.
Thank you, AJ.
Appreciate
welcome back, hour 3. Chuck, we appreciate you. 15 people, $500. How about it?
Here we go.
Way to go, Chuck.
I did hear my voice give out a couple times, though. I might have done a little bit more damage. I probably shouldn't have been doing that, but needed the moment because this is a big-time day. The last hour, we got a chance to chat with Stephen A. Smith, and the DeMar Hamlin news is remarkable.
Yeah.
It's heard the doctors during the break. I don't know if you did the same thing as us. Over here, we listened to the doctors speak a little bit. First of all, congrats to them.
Yeah.
They obviously go to school for a long time, work long hours. They probably treat this type of thing, not this type of thing, but very serious things on a regular basis nobody ever really knows about. Now they're being thrust in the spotlight. I think the way they've handled it with the information being kept in, right? There hasn't been any leaks out of the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, which is incredible. That's not normal in 2022, 2023, and probably for the rest of eternity. Tight circles are not real anymore, especially whenever it's the story of the world. So them talking about it, addressing it the way they are, this is incredible news. They're talking about we're working on getting him back to who he was before it happened. It's like that means like,
oh yeah,
football. Like if this dude returns to football, I mean, granted, the fact he's already alive, he's writing, he's messaging is what's being quoted. He's waking up on his own. He's doing everything. All the news is good. And they're talking about we're just working on getting him off the ventilator because, Chuck, explain to us a little bit, you did during the break. Because the ventilator's on there, he has to remain sedated for a certain amount of time, and they talked about that a little bit, and that was kind of their answer. Like, we still got to get him off the ventilator there. What is that process, and how do you know about it?
Yeah, so going through open heart surgery back in '96, just out of nowhere, they strap you down, you wake up, and you got this ventilator. The first thing you want to do is go grab it. So we heard that he was trying to get that thing out. That's the first instinct, is to get that thing out. But you're strapped down, and you're so heavily sedated that they're going to breathe for you until you get off that sedation. And your lungs, he's got to get you. I had tubes coming out of me, so he's got tubes clearing his lungs, getting the blood out, whatever was there. But until you're completely off all the, to a certain point where you can breathe on your own, it's because of, they've been reports that he's sedated, he's in critical condition, all that stuff. So until that kind of gets weaned out of him and he gets off that sedation, they'll pull that thing and he'll be able to breathe on his own.
Obviously, there's some dangers involved with this. I would assume sedation, ventilator, weaning off, tubes coming out of lungs and everything like that. But this is standard operating procedure for heart surgeries normally?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it's not.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a good piece of information, right? Seems like that's another good piece of information because they were asked, the doctors were asked about playing football again, and they said, he's still in the ICU. Like, we're still very much in the ICU. The doctor said it's like, okay, we understand that, but it sounds like we're getting to a point where this is a lot of folks, like not a lot of people in the history of football. He might be the only one in the history of football, routine tackle, cardiac arrest. But it sounds like we're at a point where there's a lot of people that have been to this point of where he is in recovery.
Yeah.
And that's good, right? Because we probably have more information about this particular stage of recovery. Like you said, him going for the thing, very natural. That's what everybody does. Everything that's going through right now, pretty well tested, I think, right? He's gotten to a point where I don't want to say people are just comfortable, like, hey, here we go.
He didn't have heart surgery, though.
They had to do something,
so it's
right?
Still probably different. I don't know. They didn't open him up, I don't think.
He had blood in his lungs, though, right? So they had to do the tubes?
Yeah, they had to drain
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff going on, which I didn't know. We'll get back to. I didn't know Chuck had open heart surgery in '96.
Me neither. Didn't know if it was the right time to just stop him in the middle of that and be like,
excuse me?
Okay, so you had, you said a heart attack out of nowhere?
So I had one artery block. I was on a treadmill early in the morning doing my workout. Felt a little bad. So I got off, showered, went upstairs. I was recruiting. I was at University of Miami. Came back down at lunch, jumped back on. Had the same kind of stuff, and they said, hey, you need to go over to doctor's hospital. I didn't go. Trainer came up and grabbed me on a Thursday. Said, you go? What'd they say? I said, I didn't go. So he grabbed me by the back of my hair and drugged me over there, and I essentially never left. So LAD, the Widowmaker, LAD is the left anterior descending artery, was like 85, 90% blocked.
Jesus.
So they had to go in, and so they take you in, you do a catheter deal, and
Jeez.
They check it out, cardiac cath. You do that, and they say, yeah, it is. And then you get on a table. One doc comes in and said, we can do a stent, less invasive, no open heart, no, saw your sternum open and rib cage,
Crack.
Do a cracker deal, right? And so I'm thinking, yeah, that sounds a lot better than open heart. But then the doctor's nurse came in, said, where you got this blockage, it's too close to this other artery, and if they do this and something happens and you're not opened up, they're not going to be able to save you if you burst another artery.
Got it.
So then I said, okay, where's the open heart dude?
Yeah, they wanted you to do the open heart.
So
That's why they did the way they did. Like, hey, we need to provide you options, but also we've been here before. This is a decision we're going to try to make for you pretty much. And thankfully they did, right? All good since then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I don't, they did a mammary deal, took my mammary
How old were you?
artery, 36.
Jesus.
Oh, my.
Jeez.
I'm 35.
How scary was that, Chuck?
Yeah, it was a lot scarier for like my parents and my wife Tina, because when you come out and they bring you into the room finally, and you're hooked up to a million machines. So right when you see somebody like that with a deal down your throat and all these machines going and they're basically breathing for you, they're pumping blood through your body, for you, all that kind of stuff. So it's scarier for them. But when I finally came to, they woke you up, and I tried to get that out, and they didn't want to take it out. So they did something. They stuck something down to make me cough, right? And so they had just sewn me back up, right? And just wired, they put these wires to bring your, your chest cavity back together. So I'm off the table crying. So you can't talk because you got that in your deal. And they're trying to get you to cough up stuff and get that your lungs clear. So I could give me the pad. They talked about DeMar being able to write.
Yeah.
So I could write, and I think I wrote down to Tina, right? Have them put me the fuck under again, please. Right? Don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
So that it's pretty commonplace, but I think, by another day or so, but obviously he's in such great hands and such great care. I was lucky where I was, time and place, but he'll once he gets off that stuff, it'll be.
Did you think about not coaching after that?
Stress,
Less
schedule.
stressful job, or
did you change your lifestyle or anything?
Did you diet? Yeah, it's a good question, AJ.
For a couple weeks, be honest with you.
Really?
No, it's like we take these things for granted because we're all healthy. We come to work every day. We go home. We get up. Boom, boom, boom. You take these days for granted, and they may not always be there. So you change some things and try to eat better. Exercise. I've always exercised. I've always been, I didn't have cholesterol problem. No family history. No this. No that. What is it? Stress. So 2 weeks later, I was back on the field coaching.
Okay, smart.
Nice.
All right, well, hey, we're happy you're up.
Yeah, way to go.
Unbelievable.
I think your phone's blowing up too.
Yeah, I believe people are saying, "Hey, Chuck, are you telling the heart attack story?" I didn't know this. I didn't know this was. That's amazing. I didn't know. Is that a heart attack? No, it's just blocked. What is that? What is that considered?
So thank God. So I was going to go back to. They don't know until they get in there and see if there's any damage to the heart. So I had what they call as angina. So you had like pre-heart attack, you had all the symptoms, so they say, hey, look, shortness of breath, feels like your chest is burning, pain down the left side of your arm, things like that. So then they go in and say, okay, did you have any damage to the heart muscle? And thank God I had no damage to the heart muscle, so they did a one bypass, and knock on wood, everything's good. Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, doctors. Thank you, doctors, and thank you to the doctors at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. Let's bounce around some of the news here as we wrap. That was news. Chuck, we're going to open
up. Electric.
Yeah, 36 years old, man.
Scary. What? Oh, we're not.
No, yeah, we know that. I think that's already been broken a couple of different times. But, yeah, the Bills-Bengals game, not happening. I think we all kind of understood that it's been made official.
Yeah.
A couple of different people have broke that news. What will happen next, we shall see. Will they add another team to the AFC and to the NFC because they don't want any home field advantage if some team cannot fairly earn it? Will that be for this year? Will that be for years going forward? Those are the next steps, and also the next steps of Damar Hamlin's health. We can't wait to hear what's next, and congrats to everybody over there. Taylor Heineke broke some news yesterday because it was alleged that he said to the team, you guys just need to see Sam Howell or whatever. He was going to start, and then he said, no, Sam Howell should start. He addressed it while wearing a Foreplay podcast hat in the locker room just yesterday. And I'll tell you what, Taylor Heineke oozes machismo.
Yep.
Yes, he does.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, big time.
He really does. This dude is what you want in a leader, what you want in a locker room. Here's him addressing the Sam Howell starting situation for the Commanders this last weekend of the NFL season.
We had some discussions this morning, and ultimately decided to go with Sam. And I'm really excited for his opportunity. I think he's going to show a lot of people what he's got.
But as the competitor that you are, any disappointment that you're not starting?
No. Obviously I want to be out there with the guys, but I also understand, again, this is kind of a business deal, and we're going to see what Sam's got, and we've seen it all year through practice, training camp, preseason. The guy can ball, so we're all excited for him.
Two different ways to take that. Taylor Heineke don't want to play. Taylor Heineke's happy for somebody else taking a job that he certainly has earned and has been fucked out of a couple different times now with the Washington Commanders. I think the way I view it is Taylor Heineke's like the greatest teammate of all time. Listen, if you want Sam Howell to play, cool. He told us he's just happy to be in the NFL. He's making money, but he is a massive piece of the puzzle that is this Commanders team. Carson Wentz last week, he goes in, throws 3 picks. Obviously, he's not playing. They've been eliminated. They haven't seen Sam Howell because injury early. He is a rookie. I think it's a cool move by Heineke. He continues to prove that we are big fans of his and why we are big fans of his. And Sam Howell, welcome to the league. Week 18. Nothing really on the line. Good luck out there. This is for the future of the Commanders pretty much.
Yeah, but still the question that comes to my brain, of course, Taylor Heineke, the dude is awesome. His teammates love him. We know why. I like how he said it's kind of a business deal. That's true. Like, don't get your feelings hurt about it. It's a business thing. Why the hell did Carson Wentz start last game?
They didn't know.
What are you talking about? Darius, what's so funny?
Like, why was Heineke pulled? Why did Wentz fucking do it?
Question.
I had no idea.
And didn't let him play the whole game after he was
needed to win.
Stinking it up.
Yeah,
it was a
Heineke
must-win
should
game. And, the Commanders haven't done much that made sense.
Didn't Ron Rivera early say he can't play himself out? Like, remember when Taylor got the starting gig? He said, no, he's in. He's our guy. Like, he can't. There's nothing he's going to do to get pulled. He said that, early on.
Taylor had, one game? I think he had a game where, now, granted, he wasn't putting up massive numbers in the wins that they were getting, but he was winning games for them. And I think everybody loved him. And are we trying to win, just win, or are we trying to win in a certain way? You know what I mean? That is the kind of the conversation that seemingly was taking place. And business, it's business. They paid Carson a lot of money. He was healthy. I guess they just decided in the middle of a playoff hunt, in a playoff race, that since Taylor had one game that maybe wasn't as great, or maybe it was 2. I don't remember. I think it was. Go ahead, Tone.
The game that they pulled him in, they said if they're signed,
it was a quick hook.
Yeah, and it was against the 49ers, and also he was 12 19
bad,
for 150 and 2 touchdowns.
But it being a quick hook was talked about before the game even started. That gives a storyline.
He never threw 3 picks in a game, did he?
No.
I don't think so. What happened that week before that, though? The quick
you're allowed to
the short leash.
You're allowed to throw a pick for every $10 million that you're making for the team.
Fair.
Before they start judging you?
That makes sense.
Is this
the week before the Niners.
He goes 23-31, 1 TD, 1 pick.
Oh, no, it's up top.
The Giants game.
They lost to the
17
Giants
of 29, 1 touchdown.
20-12.
2 TDs, 1 interception. Oh, you're talking about the 1,
That's
0,
when he
and
got pulled.
3.
Yeah, that's when he got pulled in the Niners.
Still never threw more than 1 pick in a game.
Yeah, but what happened because in the Giants game going into the Niners game, they said he's got a short leash for Carson Wentz. That's just because Carson was healthy? Is that what it was?
Must have been.
I assumed from not watching the entire Commanders games, I assumed he must have played poorly. Now, granted, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions against the Giants, 17 of 29. Wink Martindale's defense is going to be hungry regardless. I guess he's not putting up 400 yards, 300 yards, 249, 275. Falcons 138. It's just managing a game pretty much exactly, but they're winning.
Yeah, exactly. 5-2-1 is the starter.
Oh, they lost right there. That's why. Look at the last tie loss.
Wasn't his last 2 games? They have a tie and 2 losses.
Yeah, it was when the school board member came up to Coach Herman Boone and said, hey, I got bad news. 1 loss and you're out.
Taylor doesn't deserve that. Why does it happen to Taylor, though?
Can we pull up Carson's now?
Because money, right?
We just looked at Taylor's and absolutely, sure, they lost those games.
In fairness.
But look at the stats Carson has when they lose their game.
It's certainly because of the business part of it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely because of it. Chuck, let's ask you. It's 100% business? That's top down, telling them we're not resting a guy that's $30 million and Ron Rivera's got to deal with it?
Yeah, so we know what we paid, to get him, what we traded to get him in here, and he's going to be our guy, and then he gets hurt, and he's out. He's out, 10 weeks? So they're looking for an opportunity probably because you can't lose your job because of an injury, right, supposedly.
Jameis Winston.
But
that has happened a lot throughout professional sports.
But they're doing well.
There's a Wally Pipp guy.
Drew Bledsoe.
That statement, I think, is just marketing. I think that's propaganda.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not an actual real thing. People lose their job because they get injured all the time because there's a counter cliche: can't join the club in the tub, right? So that's a counter one there.
No, that's legit, and I think they're doing good, and they're winning. Heineke obviously wins over the fans, the locker room, coaches. He's a gamer. He's a baller. He's a great teammate. Winning, and then you hit the skids a little bit. You lose one, you tie one, whatever that was. But I think it was like maybe there was a little window that said, okay, the shines kind of wore off. Luster's kind of wore off. We have a window now, legitimate window, where we can move Carson back in.
So you think it's strategy reasons?
See if he gives us a spark, some new energy, some new whatever.
He did not.
No.
But then why wouldn't you go back to Heineke in that must-win game? I mean, they only lost by 2 touchdowns to the Browns, and Carson played like shit.
Well, so right now it's just like anything else. They're going to see what they have. Maybe one game's enough in Sam. Just like, playing Sam Ellinger for the Colts. You got to figure out what they have. Do they have a legitimate backup in Sam Howell?
Well, yeah. The Colts. What's wrong with the Colts, Chuck? Just as your.
What time? Don't we go off? I don't know.
Yeah, the opposite. The opposite would be what's right with Hard Knocks, because we can get that done quick.
How does that get? Like the Commanders, they got an uphill battle to figure out what they're going to do next
Makes
year.
sense there, though.
Maybe Carson came back and said, it's my time.
What if Carson did? Well, if we watch Hard Knocks, forget the Colts stuff. I watched Hard Knocks last night. It was awesome. It was a great episode of Hard Knocks last night. First one I've watched this season, only watched because I saw an Instagram clip of J.J. Watt doing something awesome on like the Hard Knocks Instagram, and it was like tonight, 10 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be the J.J. Watt like
retirement episode.
Recap, almost overview. And it was fucking awesome. Just because they have so many clips of JJ from back when he was at Houston, when he got drafted, big moments, big plays. NFL Film was running this whole thing, so they got an entire vault. And I think last week everybody thought, because the tweet went out, that maybe the retirement Hard Knocks episode would be last week. And then we thought, well, maybe JJ's not giving any, like, nah, I'm not being mic'd up. I'm not doing it. Like, you guys could do your little song and dance elsewhere. He was mic'd up. They did a wonderful job of encapsulating like what fucking J.J. Watt has been to the NFL and to the league. There was a couple refs thanking him for his, he ends up getting 10 sacks on the episode for the 6th time of his career. Last 3 years, he got 10 sacks combined because he was injured so much. So he reached a milestone. These last 2 games of the Cardinal season, the last 2 stadiums that he hasn't played in the entire NFL. So it's like almost like storybook type. Now the team stinks. Win a Super Bowl, obviously, that would be fantastic. But the way it was covered last night on Hard Knocks, I think, worth a watch. And JJ says fuck.
Okay.
What?
Now we're talking.
JJ is a human. Yeah. And HBO allowed that, talking shit, telling stories. Seems like a real mentor for that Zaven
Collins.
Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. Their relationship's awesome. And you can tell that JJ Watt like cares. Now, his way of caring is shit talking. But that is certainly a way of caring and way a relationship goes back. And Zaven talks shit back. But it was a great episode. I loved it. Congrats to NFL Films. And congrats to JJ. You done good, dude.
Yeah.
You done good.
Way to go, JJ.
AJ, did you pick it up?
I did not. I completely forgot that it was even a thing, but I have seen clips because I love JJ's D-line coach, Matt Burke. He was my linebacker coach in Cincinnati. Dartmouth guy, super smart. He's the man.
He's in it.
I know. That's why I've just only seen clips of it. I didn't know it was still going on. Like, how many more are there?
Probably this upcoming week's probably the last one. But real artsy shot of your D-line coach. Sitting good lighting, good backdrop. Real.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just thought to myself, look at this guy getting some shine out here.
Yeah,
You know
looks
what I
sweet.
mean? It was a cool thing coaching against J.J. Watt. It felt like every time we played Houston, the whole place was going to be turned down for Watt was going to play. And then JJ was probably going to be doing the old Dougie out there.
Hell yeah.
He was unbelievable. He was everywhere. What a fucking career. They encapsulated last night well in Hard Knocks, I thought.
No, when he came out last, when they're going to introduce the defense, it's like Ray Lewis getting introduced in Baltimore. You knew you were in for an ass whooping. and that guy was going to play. I mean, the guy is phenomenal. And, what he's done off the field is amazing. But what he's done through the course of his career, I mean, we saw that same move over and over and over and over. And we talked to AC and our tackles and linemen. He's going to foot fake you. You're going to go crashing down, and then he's going to come back out and go down the line of scrimmage and catch you from behind or wreak havoc on if we're running into it. He's unbelievable, and there's nothing you could do about it.
They showcased.
And then when he wanted to hit you right up underneath your chin and just knock him back and separate and shed and then get to the quarter, he's incredible.
They showed him working that play, which he did 3 times last week, I believe.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like, let's see if we still got this boom, bang, pow, crash down, tackle for loss on a 4th down. That's like the J.J. Watt move. They were showing him in Houston working on it, on like a dummy whenever they had Hard Knocks in Houston. They were showing him in Arizona in training camp working on it. It's like him working it and how much he's committed to a game. Hell of a fucking football player. First ballot Hall of Famer guaranteed in everybody's eyes.
Absolutely.
It was cool to kind of take a trip down memory lane. I don't know if he watched it, but he proved to me last night he was a human, which is also fucking really cool.
I got to check it out. See that side of them. They always do a great job. But y'all both just talked about it, one of the best pops in general coming out of a stadium.
Yes.
Him getting that last intro, have been a dog, obviously on the defensive side of the ball, all across the line, and then even on the offensive side of the ball, playing a little tight end, man. So he deserves this little farewell tour.
Yeah. I don't want to name drop too much because he talked to Cliff Kingsbury on Hard Knocks about. Cliff Kingsbury goes, "Did you get any texts yesterday?" When he put out the tweet, he was like, "Yeah, I tried my best." So I figured, you know what, I DM'd him. I didn't send a text though. Name drop, no big deal. I have J.J. Watt's phone number. We stole it. We stole it, kind of. The way we got it was not necessarily like how you go about getting somebody's number. They asked me to do something, and they reached out, and then he came on the show in return, and he called from his, and I don't ever do that, but I'm like,
I'll take that.
Hey, will you send me JJ's number from that computer there? I'd like to send him a message. So I sent him a text last night, and I said, or this morning, I said, hey, last night's episode of Hard Knocks was awesome. You're a legend, pal, a great ambassador of everything an NFL player is supposed to be. I had no idea you said fuck the way you do. Thank God. Congrats. Haven't got a response yet.
Come on.
He's
watching.
Game planning.
He'll know.
He's in the middle of working right now. But that was my biggest takeaway. I'm like, yes,
Really?
dude. Yes, dude. This is a guy. This is him picking up his 10th sack of the season right there. Inched out in front of 44 there. They show a full replay on both sides of it from Hard Knocks. And he's screaming right there, let's fucking go, by the way. Just so.
I'm sure he had some incentives, too, for 10.
I would assume, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would certainly believe. And also, he said last night he's known for months, and I think there was a scare, right, that had happened to J.J. Watt in his heart.
Yeah.
So, and he has a baby now, and his family's growing. I wonder how quickly everything got put in perspective. But last night on the episode, he said he's known for months. It was awesome. I would recommend watching it. And I think the NFL Films folks did a fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more things here that we wrap. Colts fucked. We're dead. You think?
Got some work to do. Quarterback and head coach, 2 most important things.
Yeah, do you think Jeff's going to get it?
I talked with some people in the building.
Mm-hmm.
They said they feel as if Jeff has done a great job in maybe initiating some things that hadn't been in there for a while.
Okay.
So, I think there's a lot of people who obviously love Jeff in that building because Jeff, Ring of Honor,
Legend.
in the building. Fucking the people that are running that building still, the day-to-day, were around when Jeff was there. Jeff was beloved by fucking everybody in the building because he's Jeff Saturday. So I think it's coming from a state of biasy, but there's a lot of, Jeff is doing, all the things you would hope that, he's doing everything that we have wanted to see from, a good fucking coach. Not that Frank wasn't, but I think the way Frank ran a team, got the team to a place in which they became pretty complacent, I'd assume, it seems like. I think if you watch the way they played. So Jeff, I don't know if he's going to get the job long term, but I think he's been a vital part of maybe setting a precedent on maybe what's going to come probably with whoever gets the job next. Chuck, what are you hearing out of the building? What are your thoughts on it?
No, I think, we all know how much Jim loves this guy and how beloved he is in the city and in that building. And I think Jim would really love for him to be his coach, to be honest with you. Now, we'll see. He's got to go through a process. They got one more game to play, on Sunday. And then, Jim's got to go through the, interview process and follow the guidelines that go, into that and see who the candidates are. You see if they're going to get a Sean Payton in or get a Jim, Harbaugh in here, et cetera. And then Jeff is going to get his turn. at interviewing for that job. But I really feel like there's a lot of people pulling for him, and the most important one is the owner.
Yeah, and I think this was all a tryout. I think that's how we assumed it was from Jim Irsay, who was like scouting everything you need to be a good head coach, probably hearing through the grapevine what the building has become, what they need, and him going, Jeff, probably, brother, this got to be a fucking
man.
You know, you got everything that you would. Have you ever thought
Hey,
about
what were
it?
you saying? Guys were late to meetings. What was that about?
Whoa.
What do you mean?
Was
I
that
never
the
said
Colts
that.
or somebody else?
No, I said
Somebody
I heard
said-
that about teams. I heard that about teams.
Oh.
And
I didn't
treatment.
think it was the Colts.
And treatment as well, I heard some places, just because who cares about the trainer's time? Fuck 'em.
Right.
And everything else that's scheduled.
Those are
Little things become
those-
big
yeah,
things.
Those are huge things.
Huge!
Very abnormal in the NFL. Good teams, bad teams, mediocre teams. Like you're on, like you talked about the meeting that when the doctor came and talked about Chuck. It's 9 o'clock. Like this meeting's not starting. It's got to be Jim. Like that's
Jim's
the only
here.
person that can hold up that type of clock. So that's very.
There's some buildings doing that, not necessarily the Colts, but
I mean,
potentially the Indianapolis
It's
Colts.
happening around.
If we
Jeff will have
watch,
his hands full though if he does get this job. But
yeah, but he could put together like an MCDC-esque coaching staff where you have all that experience.
yeah, Debo, you might be the fucking D coordinator, bro.
Yeah,
that'd be
Orlovsky,
sweet.
OC.
Does Dano, does D.O.
Yeah, Dano.
Yeah,
does he
OC.
come in as OC?
I would.
Chuck
wants to be head coach.
Donald?
Chuck, what you really?
No, if
that's
that,
the first
if that-
time
if
you
that
have.
happens.
There's a chance.
That's the
D.O.
first time you have interrupted.
D-Bud,
I'm sorry.
No, we wanted you to do it. I wanted you to do it all show. Didn't I? I said, hey, Chuck,
Yeah.
anytime,
Jump
fire
in.
in.
Yep.
Anytime. First time he does it is, oh, yeah, is Dan Orlovsky, or what's that all
I
about?
think coaches would love that.
Could you imagine a D-Bud Everything D-Beat live from the Indianapolis Colts training
Well, that's
facility?
what every single meeting will be.
Yes.
Yep.
Listen, man. Jeff,
Congrats,
Jeff,
D-Bucks.
What good?
Hey, had a baby.
Let's go,
Coach.
D-Bud.
D-Bud.
D-Bud, you did it.
We did win it.
Get him that Colts
surround
hat.
himself with a lot of obviously veteran coaches that have been around and done it before. Give me a call, Jeff. I'll rock with you.
Yeah, you think veteran coaches, just to that point, like, do you think veteran coaches would be okay?
Did Shep coach before he got this Detroit gig?
Yes, I believe so.
Kelvin Shepard, linebacker coach
Shep,
for the Detroit Lions, former teammate of ours, great fucking dude.
Where did Shep coach? He coached somewhere. He went maybe through an internship as well, and then he went back to LSU to work. I want to say kind of like a pro personnel type guy at LSU.
Yeah, he was director of player development at LSU in
okay, so-
2020, and then the outside linebackers coach for the Lions the last 2 years.
Okay, so what we're learning here from the Jeff Saturday thing, and I was optimistic. Once again, on paper, great team. For whatever reason, they fucking stink.
Well,
There's a lot of them, I think. I think there is a happy medium. Have to have maybe some sort of knowledge of,
okay,
I
okay.
think you
got safe assumption.
have to have had to try it before. Just something. You think, is that what we learned from this? You know what I mean? Maybe it helps a little bit better. I don't know if anybody comes in and wins for the Colts. I want to
Exactly.
I don't know if anybody comes in there.
He won 2 challenges last game.
Should have
There
been.
we go.
Hey, could have been 3 by the way.
Cowboys was a very close game for most of it.
Fourth quarter,
They
we were
came
up
out flying.
on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Vikings
Also,
was
like-
close for a little bit.
Well, in the Vikings game, like, how much of that are you putting on Saturday? You know?
But I guess strategy-wise, he could have told Parks Frazier, who certainly is going to have an interesting offseason. I would assume Parks Frazier
Yeah,
is
safe to
in
assume he
an
won't be
interesting
calling
spot
plays
right now.
No.
But he will use this as a vital lesson as he goes forward, I would assume. Did he really have a chance? Who knows? You know what I mean? Did he really have a chance?
Can you imagine how hard?
So hard.
There's not many guys. You got to give him credit for just signing up.
He was the only motherfucker that knew the plays.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And signing up for that job. Yeah, Jim, I'll go do this for you.
30-year-old.
My God.
Only guy left in the
No,
building.
I'm talking about Jeff.
Oh, okay.
And then those guys turning down that job, and same with Park. So
Parks had to be
they're
bummed
not
too.
afraid.
You're saying a lot of people. You're saying a lot of people did not want to probably take that job with where the Colts were, even though on paper the roster looked good. Because
So you think back to when that transpired after the Patriots game, right? And now you see what's transpired and where we're at now, that timeline and everything in between. So maybe there's some guys that had a vision what might happen, what this thing may look like.
hey, that's a big piece of conversation though, because at the time that was not talked about. Like, oh, Jeff's picked over this person. Jeff's picked over this person. Jeff's picked over this person.
Evero in Denver,
Yeah.
they offered him the job before they gave it to Jerry.
Yeah, DC.
And he said,
I'd rather not have that on my record.
Well, I think it was more, he handled it really well. If you watch his press conference and his comments, he's done a really good job. But he said, my duty's to the defense and these guys, and I'm not going to let them down and leave this thing.
Fascinating situation. Good luck to all parties. Colts are going to have to hit a reset button. What the fuck is going on? We got snow angels.
Yeah. And the 30 million cap currently can, increase significantly if they make a couple moves.
And I think we can.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably need to.
Was Matt Ryan on 1 year? 1 year?
No,
that's going to have to be something that's figured out.
Yeah, it was a 3-year, $120 million contract.
See, remember, we thought there was a chance that Matt Ryan would just say, you know what? Yeah, signs a new deal worth $0 the next 10 years. And then that'll be a $0 cap hit because he renegotiated his deal and he's sailing off into retirement. J.J. Watt did that for the Cardinals.
Yes.
They renegotiated the deal, still a couple $1 million cap hit for multiple years, even though they did that whole thing. So I think the Colts are going to be strapped with Matt Ryan's contract for a good bit here.
Yeah, only 18 if they cut him pre-June 1. So
yeah, he saved 17.
What's so funny, AJ? 18.
I'm thinking what makes us think that next year is going to be any better? This is a tough situation.
AJ!
Nothing. No, they're going to
CJ Stroud.
Okay.
Yeah, and remember,
I mean, it's true. Quarterbacks can save everybody. They really can. A guy comes in and plays well, everybody has a job. Everyone's happy.
it's 2023 too, so they need 2 Super Bowls in 7 years.
Here's how the money has been spent by Jim Irsay in the quarterback position since 2018. Andrew Luck, $18 million. Jacoby Brissett, $760,000. Brad Kaya, of course.
He was a dog.
$555,000.
The kayak.
Were you coaching this year, Chuck, or no?
Which one?
18.
Nope.
No, you're this first year gone. Jacoby Brissett the next year, $15 million. Andrew Luck, $12 million. He's not on the team anymore. Brian Hoyer, $5 million.
Dog.
Chad Kelly, $268,000. Atta baby Chad. Phil Rivers in 2020, because obviously Jacoby Brissett doesn't work out. He gets hurt in the middle of the season. He gets a human dropped on his knee. It's a whole different ball game. We bring in Philip Rivers because he knows Frank Reich's offense. They work together at the Chargers. He's only worth what? $25 million. Jacoby Brissett still getting the deal, $15 million from the deal beforehand a year ago when he was going to be the guy for the foreseeable future. Jacob Eason, another $1 million. Brian Hoyer, $950,000. Let's move to 2021. We got Phil Rivers again? No. We got Jacoby Brissett again? No. We still paying people? Oh, yeah. Carson Wentz, $21 million. Sam Ellinger, $700,000. Brett Hundley, $572,000. Okay, 2022, you got the same people? Matt Ryan, $24 million. $705,000. Nick Foles, $2.6 million. Congrats to him. He's not good at football, making multiple millions of dollars playing football. He did have a hell of a career, though, Nick Foles.
Statue.
And Sam Ellinger, he is a statue. It's Sam Ellinger, $825,000 for a total of $145 million from Jim Irsay in the quarterback position over the last 5 years. And where are we? At a potential, we need to fucking reset everything.
Lowest of all those points.
Not easy. Not easy to win in the NFL, so congrats to all the teams that do.
Yeah. Amen.
All right, let's get the hell out of here. We got a big time Feel Good Friday tomorrow.
Huge.
Yeah.
Big time Feel Good Friday. I can't wait to be in the Thunderdome on a Friday yet again.
Let's go.
It's a beautiful thing. Because it's Friday.
Friday.
That's not the song.
Gonna get
You know what song I'm
down
talking
on
about. You know what
Oh,
song?
yeah. Well, who was that? That girl, it was a one-hit wonder.
Carly Rae Jepsen. She's got a couple bangers.
Rebecca Black.
Michelle Branch.
All right,
someone
it's
else.
not Michelle Branch.
Rebecca Black.
There we go. There we go.
D-Bud, do you want to... I don't remember if you won. You won yesterday with a putt.
Yeah, you did.
Chuck won today with a putt.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I want to
He won
shot
throwing shot.
Oh,
Shot
yeah.
Yeah.
Great
First
shot.
one, first shot.
First shot.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
From the seat.
Yeah.
First shot, yeah.
You remember you got up early and we're like, no.
Sit down
down.
for the
And then you went
video.
back up.
Yep.
What's your problem?
I'm just co-signing. What do you mean? Of course,
Well,
yeah.
you said it like
There's
an
a
asshole.
tone.
Yeah.
You hear me?
The tone. You don't know my tone. You don't get my tone.
We do.
you kidding
That's
me?
why whenever we hear a from, it's like, wow.
Okay.
Wow, seems like there's some
No,
toxicity.
I mean, I am D-Bud's biggest fan when he's shooting shots or putting. You guys know that.
No, you're not.
All right. We'll just act as if that's true, even though we know it's not. Connor's certainly the least biggest fan of giving away
By
money
far.
to anybody ever, which is a damn shame. That hoodie stinks. Don't ever
This
wear
one?
it on the stadium.
Well, it stinks for you because You know, this team right
That thing
here
is Mickey Mouse.
just took your old,
What is it? What team
gross,
is that?
grimy Penguins out back behind the shed and put bullets in all those old guys' heads in their entire careers. It was a good run.
Oh, shut the fuck
Old
up.
Hockey Town.
That's a
But
strip
Hockey
district
Town
play if
is
I've ever seen
dead.
one.
Same with that Hockey Town. And there's only one town the Stanley Cup's heading to, and that's the one up north in Boston.
Oh, that's a Bruin?
Yeah, it's the Meth Bear that we had in 1970.
Jeez. The Meth Bear?
Yeah, the Meth Bear.
called it?
That makes sense.
Is that a hoodie?
That's
from
exactly
1970?
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyone
guys
see
are
that
a ton of
Cocaine Bear
meth.
movie?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Ray Liotta's final film.
Is it good?
Is it good?
It's after a real story, right?
Yeah, it
allegedly.
looks fantastic. It's a comedy. The bear can talk.
You say allegedly, Ty.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't buy it. You better hope the Guinos don't have cement in their skates tonight. I'll tell you that.
Oh, God, that was. You are dialed in. Both those look
because they are going to the toughest barn in America,
Back
the
in
T-Mobile
Boston?
Arena.
Ty, how much?
Taking on the Golden Knights.
Well,
Golden Knights actually stink.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we
always
also-
have, always will. Same with the Bruins.
Well,
the Meth Bears are
number
back.
one in the Western Conference.
yeah, number one in the league. Also, we did learn something about T-Mobile Arena during the Winter Classic. I believe they sell 19 or 12-ounce beers for $19.
That's Vegas, baby. Get
Yeah,
on board.
That is Vegas.
You're lucky to be here.
It's a tough barn.
All right, Ty, how much merches are you giving away if I make this?
I'll give you fucking 15 merches.
Whoa,
15 merches?
Ty's got a baby.
Ty, think about it.
That's a lot of merch.
Think about it.
Sorry, Phil.
Yeah. Needs to be $10 or less.
Yeah, keychains.
We don't have any merches. Oh, we got some stickers.
Yeah, we got
Keychains,
stickers.
yep.
There it is.
No,
Pint glasses.
Merches is
How much
anything
is
on the
football? How much is the Baby Duke?
Good
Baby
luck
Duke's
being knocked
40?
out one of those.
Are
Sweet.
easier to get a PS5 than a Baby
I forget what the
Duke.
Baby Duke is. I don't want to be on the record for the Baby Duke
Like
because
$300?
You should.
hard to find. If you want to go supply demand, those
They
footballs should be.
Yeah, $1,000.
Yeah, they're not worth that much for sure. So you're gonna
Well-
get 15 merches from the entire store?
15 merches.
Whoa.
Bangarang. Yep. Oh! Look good right away.
Yeah, man.
Retweet this video. Say something nice to somebody. Maybe DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Maybe
Or
Stoner.
anybody in their family. Definitely not.
Stoner.
Definitely not Stoner.
That still counts.
Yeah, you could say something nice to Stoner if you'd like. Anybody, actually. The world needs to hear more nice things. Do that in a reply to this video. And also put your cash tag in there so we can pay you. Oh, no, you don't need to, actually.
Yeah, no.
No, you don't need to put your cash tag in there. You just need to reply by saying something nice. Ty Schmidt's going to pick 15 people to get merches from store.patmcafeeshow.com. What a day. What a fantastic Thursday this was. This is the first Thursday of a lot of Thursdays that doesn't have an NFL game tonight. But today was the day that we got incredible news about DeMar Hamlin, and we will try to move forward with the NFL season. And hopefully DeMar Hamlin will be back better, just as he was before the entire scary incident on Monday Night Football soon. We can't thank you enough for joining us. Be a friend, tell a friend. We're back tomorrow for a Feel Good Friday. Big thanks to Rappaport for stopping by today again. He's kind of been our
correspondent
all week. We appreciate that. Stephen A. Smith stopped by. Fucking hey, dude.
Unreal.
How about him owning his own podcast? I'm very happy for him with that. Shoot happy.
Yeah, very smart.
And it's got to be fun for him too. He says it's not a sports deal, so it's probably fun to take a little detour from what he normally does.
And I think a lot of people, are happy that sports will remain sports, because I understand why people felt obligated to tell the entire world how they feel and in turn how other people should feel. And there's a certain level of responsibility, I think, that people who have a platform that feel as if they have to dive into everything and do that. And we have always been a crew that is way too dumb to be letting others know how they should think. So we stay away from most of the real world stuff. Sometimes real world stuff comes into our world and we have to talk about it, but I try to never be a person that is trying to sway anybody in any direction, strictly because I don't fucking know. Nobody's asking, hey, you know what, that dipshit that wears the tank top in the middle of the day on the internet, I'd like to hear what that guy tell me how I should feel about something that is real. Like, that is not us. We're trying to be a mental vacation for people. But I think sports have been viewed that way by a lot of people for a long time. And sports became something that was, much different in the coverage for a while. And I understood why it was happening, because people felt an obligation. But also I understood why people were like, this is not what, if we want this, we won't go. Sports is supposed to be something that brings us all together, as opposed to And Stephen A. even acknowledges that.
Yeah.
I think that's good news, that is where we are at. We're all kind of understanding each other a little bit more, I think, and hopefully we'll continue to move forward in a beautiful fashion and be a united sports community, just like we have been this week around the tragedy and scary situation that was Damar Hamlin on Monday Night Football. Sports are a beautiful thing. We're lucky to cover it. We'll do more of it tomorrow. We'll see you then. AJ, good luck. Take care. Goodbye.